Okay, Dr. Oluwasegun or Shidipe MLI, the National Technical Coordinator for UNIDO and the RECP project Nigeria. So it's a pleasure to have you around. So I would like us to probably help you with the mic, to pass the mic around again. Start from the front here so that we introduce ourselves. And start from the front, please. And possibly also tell us, just make comments, any comments that you feel like this. I don't want to say expectations, you know we're used to expectation.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Ikeja is my name. I work with convened Nigeria. I'm the project manager in charge of energy management. And of course, my expectations are loaded. So I expect to see more things. I expect to get more things, learn more things. And meet with a lot of people here coming from different organizations so that we can also move forward. Thank you.
My name is Ikeja, production manager of PCA in Nigeria. Good morning, everybody. My name is senior executive in Nigeria.
Good morning, everyone. My name is I'm the QHLC manager this season. I'm excited to be here, so I want to learn more. And the requirement for ISO energy management and environmental sustainability. So I'm here to learn to take experience in our company. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Okuloma. I'm the maintenance manager in Paint and Coatings Limited. So my expectation is like to learn more from everyone here. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I am on Sunday Ansel Obi. I work for Techno Oil Limited. Yeah, I'm the maintenance manager. I expect to know something I've not known before. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Abi Babatunde, safety specialist for Nestle Nigeria PLC Agbara. I'm here to add knowledge to the existing knowledge. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mr. Solomon Benjamin. I'm the maintenance manager.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ismail Ikeja.
Good morning. My name is Machuku Kinadachi. I'm the electrical engineer for Abalaba National PLC. Okay, I would like to go on the environmental expert after this session. I like that. Good morning, all. My name is Peter Iwoga. I'm maintenance engineer at USC Nigeria Limited. I'm here to
contribute to and also learn. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Vivian RECP. I work with a product and lubricants related as an HR and in manager. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Oladeji Senior, a Nigerian Foundries, maintenance manager. Looking forward to learning and working on this today.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jude Kusipo, the head of quality assurance, research and development, and process improvement for Mocha Limited. I'm here to broaden my knowledge on the 14,001 standard as well as learn one or two about 50,001 and how I can improve my processes of working. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sonam. I am General Manager Projects for Reliant Overseas Limited. I am here to learn more about UNIDO projects. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Felix Enela from Avon Franca and Components Nigeria Limited. I'm the Kiwi Assistant Manager. A lot has been learned over previous sessions, so this is another learning course. And more importantly, to see the CPA results are favorable with the participants. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Emeka Oko. I work with Avon Franca and Components. I'm a maintenance supervisor. So I'd like to add more to my knowledge of ISO 2001.
My name is Peter Arnold. I'm a journalist with this newspaper. I want to receive information and to deepen my knowledge on the area.
Good morning. My name is
Good morning, everyone. I am Solomon Makojola.
Once again to us. Okay, we have people online. If you can hear me, can you also take time to introduce yourself? All you need to do is unmute and just introduce yourself. Even though I can see your name, I can see Benjamin Oreko, I can see Rabia Salihu Said. Thank you, madam. Could you please just introduce yourself?
Hello, good morning.
Fantastic. Good morning.
Okay.
Please go ahead. Okay, Professor Loretta is from Fruitry. I think her video is frozen. Another person online, could you please introduce yourself? I can see Edidion Atman. We are taking note of those that are just behind the veil. How many people do you have online, Laura? 9. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Shehu Usman Adamu, if you can hear us, put on your camera and introduce yourself. Okay, I think we have to move on. Is there anyone that is online that is here to introduce itself or herself so that we can move on to the next? Okay, on that note, because time is precious, I would like to move to the next item quickly, even though it's not listed on the program. I would like to invite the National Project Coordinator to say one or two things, a few remarks before we move on to other items. Over to you. Good morning, all. You are welcome to this not workshop, but a stakeholder engagement, under which we are going to look at the benefits of ISO 50001 and 40001. And we are going to give you feedback from the internal production assessment that we carried out. Even though we promised, we signed a non-disclosure agreement, but showing you or telling you what we experience on the field, I think will benefit others that are not there and you that are there also. So on behalf of Jeff, UNIDO, MAN, PMU, I welcome you all to this stakeholder engagement. Thank you. Okay, quickly, next on the agenda, in the spirit of managing the time effectively, is a welcome address also from Manufacturer Association of Nigeria, precisely Director General, Manufacturer Association of Nigeria, Mr. Shegun Ajayi Kadri. I'll be presenting that welcome address on his behalf, as required. Distinguished guests, esteemed members, particularly members of Manufacturer Association of Nigeria, gentlemen of the press, I welcome you to the National Stakeholder Sensitization Workshop, organized specifically to again focus on the benefits of ISO 50001 and ISO 14001, and also to take an helicopter view of the feedback and results from the cleaner production assessment conducted under the Jeff UNIDO RECP Nigeria project. I'm delighted to also join the National Project Coordinator to welcome you, each and every one of you, to this workshop. I would like to say that your presence at this session is a testimonial of your belief and strong commitment to sustainable industrial growth and development. I would like to specifically thank UNIDO for its concerted effort to reposition the manufacturing sector in Nigeria for sustained growth through the adoption of leading global practices and methodologies. It is expedient that I affirm upfront that the gains of intentional efforts of this kind are usually mutually beneficial and therefore a win-win for all stakeholders. The implementation of the Jeff UNIDO Industrial Energy Efficiency, Resource Efficiency, and Cleaner Production projects marks a defining moment in our collective journey towards sustainability. It represents an essential moment for us as leaders in the manufacturing sector, where we have the opportunity and indeed responsibility to champion sustainable practices that not only drive but also preserve our planet for generations to come. Therefore, as we come together to deliberate and strategize, let us not underestimate the transformative power of our discussion. The challenges posed by energy inefficiency are multifaceted, encompassing not only economic considerations, but also environmental impacts and social implications. Embedded within these challenges are opportunities to innovate, optimize, efficiently utilize resources, and to lead the way towards a more sustainable future. As we embrace the principles of energy efficiency, we will not only be reducing our carbon footprint, but also mitigating environmental degradation and savings on energy costs. In return, the efficiency, competitiveness, and resilience of operation will be enhanced to meet the increasing demand of our ever-evolving global marketplace. Distinguished guests, esteemed members of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we can safeguard our environment and foster sustained economic growth and development in Nigeria by adopting cleaner production methods, optimizing resource utilization, and investing in energy efficient technologies. As we embark on this journey towards greater industrial energy efficiency, let us harness the collective knowledge, expertise, and creativity present in this room. Let us engage in robust dialogue, forge partnership, and adopt the IEE and RECP methodologies in our respective industries. I am confident that together we can gain further traction in our quest to promote environmentally friendly manufacturing in Nigeria. May I therefore encourage everyone to actively participate in the conversation we'll be having today, sharing your insights and engage in open and constructive dialogue. Let us leverage this platform to forge new pathways and inspire innovation that will drive tangible action towards our shared vision of a cleaner and better Nigeria. Once again, I welcome you to the National Stakeholder Workshop and thank you for listening. Moving, we are clapping as if. Okay, before I make my comment, on a lighter note, there is no tax for clapping. You know, we have new tax laws, so nobody will tax you. So I think if you want to clap, it's good to clap very well. Thank you, thank you. On that note, I would like to go ahead and take the next item, after which I will jump the tea break, after which we'll now go for the tea break. This is just to avoid the situation where I will go, have to leave here and come back immediately to the platform. The presentation is an overview of the project and implementation status. In line with the requirements of UNIDO, that is the project document, we're expected to share this at all meetings. Some of us already will be used to some of the slides, but UNIDO in its wisdom considered it expedient that we do it, that the more we do it, the more we will internalize what the project is all about, and above all, that the more we share it, particularly, you know, in every gathering, just like we recorded today, you may have one or two persons that will also be joining for the first time. But I'm taking it for granted, with your permission, I'll be taking it for granted that many of us are familiar with the slides. So I'll concentrate more on the new ones that speak volume about the progress we've made, the achievement in terms of number of persons whose capacity has been enhanced, and all of that. I believe that will add maximum value. However, for the purposes and benefit of gentlemen of the press that are here also, as well as one or two or new persons that are joining us, I'll run through this slide. It's titled Overview of JET UNIDO Industrial Energy Efficiency, i.e. RECP, that is Resource Efficient Cleaner Production Project Nigeria, implementation status. When you look at I'll need to come out. Light is affected. Okay. Is it good now? Can I do that? Okay, fantastic. You say the same thing. Okay, thank you. The project title Improving Nigerian Energy Performance and Resource Efficiency in Production through Pragmatic Approach. Of course, like we always hear, the popular cliche, he who pays the piper dictates the tune. The financier is Global Environment Facility. Of course, the implementing agency, major implementing agency is United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO. The project's cost, JEF contribution, co-financing. You know, the natural thing when you hear about cost, you want to see the naira and kobo there. We are not including it, but it runs into about $1 million plus, as well as others that come in form of kind. Kind in the sense that we have partners like Nigeria. Nigeria also provided the counterpart funding, and we have other institutions that also provided some facilities by way of supporting the project in kind. Who are the executive partners? Of course, the federal government, ably represented by Federal Ministry of Environment, also ably represented by Energy Commission of Nigeria. Then you have the private sector, ably represented by the Manufacturer Association of Nigeria. I need to say this, when you look at multilateral organizations, when they sign country programs with countries, usually it is government, between government and that agency. But for the first time in the history of Nigeria, a private sector organization happened to be the one actually implementing it as the project management unit. And that's why we have Manufacturers Association of Nigeria there. Of course, when we talk about ECN, I don't need to explain, the Energy Commission of Nigeria, by law, by the enabling law, they are the ones saddled with the mandate on anything that has to do with energy. I know you'll be saying, what about Ministry of Power? Yes, Ministry of Power is there, but you know, ministry formulates, agency actually implements whatever policy ministries are formulated. Who are the key stakeholders? You can see them on the screen. Bank of Industry, someone will be wondering why Bank of Industry. There is a financing component of the project that provides funds for industries that after the conduct of their cleaner production assessment that want to achieve one or two things. Rather than dipping hand into your working capital, all you need to do is approach BOI through us to buy those things. You want to change all your motors to energy efficiency ones. You don't need to dip your hand into your working capital. So in the wisdom of UNIDO and JEF, they are included as stakeholders. You have Federal Ministry of Power, like I mentioned earlier, because even when you generate, at the end of the day, the infrastructure you use to dispense electricity through generator, largely the framework is still in the hands of Ministry of Power. You have National University Commission. Someone will be wondering, why National University Commission? I know many of us are aware why now. You recall that even online, you have representative of universities. There are 4 universities now that are running these programs as courses, professional courses approved by the Nigeria University Commission, National University Commission. Because largely this is nascent to us. When you talk about somebody becoming an expert in REE, somebody becoming skilled and certified in RECP, somewhat nascent. So in the wisdom of UNIDO, as part of developing a pool of experts that can be called upon, because they are going to extend this program to other countries in West Africa. So when there is need for such experts, all they do, as long as your name is in the pool, the database, is to call on such a person and look at those that are available and they invite you. And that's why we've been advising you right from the onset, don't play with the presentations. Don't play with the PowerPoint. Don't play with those practical things, the engagement we had, even when we came to your factory. Some of them, as you internalize them indirectly, you are preparing yourself for greater assignments. Believe you me, you are representing your company, no doubt. But for some of us, you know to a large extent the certification, because the certification is coming up very soon. Some of you have received letters based on merit, based on your performance, based on commitment. And it's fully funded by UNIDO. is in dollars, paid for, you'll be certified by ISO as an expert in that line. So there are 4 universities: Bayero University, Kano, Federal University of Petroleum, EFRO, that's Fukri, University of Abuja, and University of Lagos. Selected four universities and all other stakeholders that I mentioned earlier. The objective of this project is just to accelerate the adoption of RECP and IEE methodologies in industries. That's what this big grammar is saying. Understand the methodologies and deploy it in your facilities in the best interest of your operation, to make your company more profitable and also to be able to be competitive wherever you find yourself, or whatever market that your product finds itself. The methodologies, there are 2. For RECP, you know what it is. It's speaking about environmental management system. For IEE, it's largely speaking about energy management system and optimization. When you also look at the institutional arrangement, what's the institutional arrangement? On top, like I mentioned earlier, he who pays the piper dictates the tune. You have Global Environment Facility. Directly under that, you have UNIDO, who is a major implementing partner. And immediately after UNIDO, you have the Project Management Unit, domicile in Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, managed by Manufacturing Association of Nigeria. On the extreme, on the left side of the screen, you have the Project Steering Committee, made up of all those organizations. You'll be wondering why, for every project, just like we have in our company's board, a board that speaks, that approves the plan, the strategic plan for the industry, review the performance of the MD and his management team. The same way, the project steering committees like the governing board that approves the implementation of the project. On the extreme right of the screen, to the left of project management unit, you have the Bank of Industry. Then under that, you have IEE Working Group, which is domiciled in Energy Commission of Nigeria. You have RECP Working Group, which is domiciled in Ministry of Environment. Then you have, by the left, extreme left, beside RECP Working Group, you have international and national experts. I don't need to speak more on this. Some of you have had the opportunity of coming in contact with international experts, and some of you have become friends and partners and associates of our national experts already. You call them anytime, you consult with them, you ask questions. Then, at the lower rung of the ladder, you have the beneficiaries. I've spoken about some of them already. You have institutions there like Investment Promotion Council, NOTAP, Raw Materials, Research and Development Council, and others. This particular slide speaks to the critical pillars and components of the project. One is to strengthen national industrial and environmental policy and regulatory framework for IEE. That, of course, is handled by each year. The second component talks about modular IEE energy management system, energy system optimization, and resource efficient industrial enterprise and engineering consultancy-based training and capacity building program. That involves some of you participants representing industry. That involves RECP working group. That also involves the national expert. It also involves the IEE working group. The next component talks about ENMS, ESO, and RECP piloting and demonstration program. Some of us participated in that as well in the course of the conduct of the cleaner production assessment. The other one talked about enhanced investment in industrial energy efficiency improvement and cleaner production with relevant sections of Nigerian industrial sector. Out of the over 48 companies that have applied for funds, I talked about a particular component, financing component being managed by Bank of Industry. I think it's only about 12 or 14 that have been able to scale through the process. And out of that, some have received their funds disbursed already. Some are even waiting for the equipment to arrive at the port so that they can clear them and also deploy them in their facility. The next one talks about industrial and commercial ENMS, ESO, RECP awareness promotion, service demand generation, and sharing of lessons. We did all of this in the course of our strategy session on financial components, how to write business plan, some of us participated with our colleagues from the accounts department, while the last one is project monitoring and evaluation. That is left for Jeff, UNIDO, and of course, MAN. What about the regions that are covered? We have 4 regions. Region 1, which is Southwest, Region 2, South-South, Region 3, Southeast, and Region 4 in the North. However, at the beginning of the implementation in 2021 precisely, we had the opportunity of touching majority of the states mentioned there. But at the end of the day, as the project implementation progresses to the second phase, we realize the need to concentrate more on a particular location that is central to all of this because of challenge of funds and logistics. So at the end of that process, that assessment, we took a decision to focus on those central states. In the north, we have Kano, we also have Abuja, then we have, in the east, we have Onitsha, and of course, we have Lagos, covering Lagos and the southwest zone. What about the sectors that are covered under this project? We have petrochemical, if you are into petrochemical, anything related to petrochemical, you are here with us. If you are into wood, food, and furniture sector, you are here with us. If you are into textile sectors, wearing apparel, leather, and all of that, you are with us. If you are into basic metal, iron and steel, and all of that, you are with us. And of course, if you are into food and beverages sector, of course, and tobacco, you are with us. Part of the boxes that the project expects us to tick were to train 70 industries across the country. But I have good news. The good news is that we've actually done more than 70 industries, still using the same resources and still using the same form, because we know it's for the benefit of our industry and it's also for the benefit of Nigeria. We're also expected to have a pool of 300 IEE and 200 RECP designated staff and employees of industry or manufacturing sector. I also have good news. We have done more than that. For those that will visited for CPA, you recall the first thing after the debriefing, the first thing we do is ask for your team, RECP team, IEE team. And there's no factory that will visit that we have at least 2. In some cases, we even have 4. Apart from taking the training, they've gone back to their factory to also share, more like train the trainer, to also train. So they have 3-4 other persons joining a particular group. The 4 university as training and certification institution, for us, I would also like to say, I have good news. They have been approved, like I said, the curriculum has been developed. In fact, there's even an online one that you can even do from the confines of your office. And as you are through with the reading, the lecture, you can also take exams immediately if you don't want to go to university. That university is not close to your location. So that is how far we have gone on that. The broad objective and benefit of IE and RECP, of course, when you deploy it appropriately and very well in your factory, you'll be reducing cost of production. There's no doubt. For those that will have the opportunity of having practical session with international experts on your factory shop floor during the CPA, you can bear witness. Particularly RECP was an eye-opener for some factories, up to how you use your materials, how you manage your waste, a whole lot of it. So when you deploy it effectively, you'll be reducing your cost. Resourcefulness and competitive edge. Yes, of course, there's no how you deploy these 2 methodologies effectively that you won't be more competitive. Improved health and stronger economy. There's no way you deploy them that you won't be reducing your carbon footprint on the environment, and you won't be improving the health of your employees or your co-workers, as well as your host community. The next one is positive impact on the environment. Yes, I combine that indirectly, because when you deploy them very well, your carbon footprint will be effectively managed, will not be negative on the environment. Reduce exposure to global rising energy prices. I like to pause here to shake the table. As many that are waiting and expecting that the price of energy will come down, I want to shock you. This one is Oshibikwe speaking now. The price of energy will continue to go up. When you look at even the global ecosystem, you see, you check prices. And that is why the European Union that are always championing the protocol of not using charcoal, not using coal, not using, they are currently going back to coal. Because energy costs will continue to rise. And what is that saying to us? It means even as individuals, in our homes and even in our factories, we need to start looking for cleaner energy, alternative energy sources that we can use, particularly renewable, so that we can overall reduce our cost of energy and also be able to make a reasonable profit or manage our individual budget. Improve brand image and visibility. I know many of us will also know that if you deploy this very, very well, you'll be improving the brand. Do you know today now, as part of international trade protocol, there are some products they won't allow to gain entry into the value chain, the global value chain, except they can attest to the fact that you have implemented these methodologies. You have operated in a manner that you have impacted the environment positively. So those are part of the benefits. These are the ones I said I will concentrate more on. The training workshop attendance dashboard. When you look at it, you'll see all the locations we've captured. We've been able to train personnel, and you'll see that the blue bar is showing us that we have trained 1,305. 1,305. When you look at the sum of attendance bar by color, you'll see that you observe the progression. The colors represent different years. You can see how tiny 2021 was. You can see by 2022, it grew. You understand what I'm trying to say? Unfortunately, when we are gradually getting to the end of the program, look at the size. It means ab initio, when we started, many were looking at it like waiting that they talk. What is it? What is in it for me? But now it means the awareness, the level of awareness has grown so much that. So the next one talks about the training workshop, all the faces and the number and others. We will also still update this. And by the time we update it, I think the number should be more than 1,300. Of course, in line with the protocol, the UN protocol, for every training you are deploying or empowerment program, you need to factor in the female force. And you can see the representation. Even though the number is still big, the men are still occupying almost 75.1% as against 24.83%. That takes me to the next slide. Company trade per location. You know the location. You remember when we've done 122 industries. So these are just to show us that, and also if you look at the percentage, that is the number of participants. We're expected to do 200 somewhere and 300 somewhere. Put together, it should be 500. But we have done over 1,000. So these are just pictorial view of the sessions that we have. We have a dialogue session with CEOs at Marriott Hotel, where we further, because for programs like this, you need the management to buy in. You need them to own it. And that is why many of us have approvals to be part of the process. This one talked about the technical session and other programs that we have conducted, Lagos, Kano, Benin, and Onitsha. And you could see some of our national, international experts in the picture. This is the Finance and Investment Training Workshop on IE and RECP methodologies. By the way, some companies also, I'd like to say congratulations to you, also have the benefits of having hand-holding exercise on how to develop a business plan for IE and RECP methodology domestication in their industry, free of charge. All they do is go and bring something. You submit the review. They are guiding them on how to do that, free of charge. This talks about the same thing, Lagos of nature, the training on IE investment, Lagos of nature. Then we have picture of cleaner production assessment. That's in Kano, GB TOFA in Kano. Cleaner production assessment in Ogun State, Nigerian foundries. Cleaner production assessment in Edo, Fresco, PLC. Cleaner production assessment in Anambra State, Geolis Cables Limited, Tommy Foods. Training workshop on IE methodologies for media stakeholders. Also, in the wisdom of Jeff and UNIDO, we are also expected to conduct training for media, in the media houses, correspondents and all of that. The essence is so that they will understand, every concept or every particular, yes, that's the right word, concept. Or when you are looking at a particular concept, you realize that they have register of words. So when we talk about IE and RECP methodology, there are specific register of words. There are some words you don't use anyhow. When you talk about sustainability, there are specific set of register of words that you need to understand, so that when you are reporting as a journalist, you'll be able to report properly. So we also conducted in Abuja. I think we conducted in Kano, and we also conducted in Lagos, of course. We also conducted a specialized training for Bank of Industry and strategic stakeholders like commercial banks. You'll be wondering why commercial banks? The reason is just like we're exposing industry to the methodologies, and Bank of Industry, we are exposing Bank of Industry to the fund. They have the fund. But beyond having the fund, they also need to understand their role. As we speak today, Bank of Industry has a specialized desk for renewable energy, IE related funding requirements, as well as RECP. And they are not only do they have access to funds from UNIDO, they also have gone ahead to get funds from other international organizations. Similarly, some of the commercial banks that participated in a capacity building and strategy session, they've developed products, financial services, products in their banks that they are now offering to even individual, household. If you tune your TV, just watch, you'll see UBA doing something, saying just pay 20%, we'll improve your energy. You will see also the likes of Fidelity, I think Fidelity, if I'm not making mistakes. So beyond just learning this, exposing them, part of the achievement is on their own now, they are developing products, services that they can also trade with. So we went there to have that training at Ibom in Akwa Ibom. Finance and investment training phase 2 also. In Lagos, we have 6 participants. Onitsha 43, Abuja 33, Kano 34. I don't know if, wow, okay. Finance and trading. Did you observe something here, please? In Lagos, we have 76. 78% male, 22 female. Onitsha 30 male, percent female, 70 Abuja 27 female and 73 male. Kano 88% male and 12% female. Depending on the location and the cultural orientation, you can see how the percentage for female is scaling down. So why am I paying more attention to this? As ambassadors of the project, as we are training people in our facilities, as we are setting up IE groups or RECP group, let's endeavor to also include the female folks so that they'll be part of it. A good example, I don't know if I should say this, I think I'll be marketing the company if I should say it. We visited a company that the bulk of the people that attended to us were female, even engineers talking to us, and they knew their audience, speaking professionally, and they are young, very young So the same way, let's encourage, as we are domesticating our facilities, let's involve more of women. Finance and investment trading also within Lagos, Kano, Anambra, and Abuja. I'm sure some of us will be seeing ourselves in the picture. We also had intermediate technical training workshop on RECP methodology held here, this same place. The cleaner production assessment, the mission 1 was carried out 10 companies in Lagos and Ogun State, June 21 to July 1, 2025. You can see this is Belotti. Do I have representative of Belotti here? Belotti. Oh, okay. What happened? Okay. This is Amel International Limited. Do you have a representative of Amel here? Oh, fantastic. This is House Street. Do you have a representative of House Street here? No. Okay. This is Promasido. Do you have a representative of Promasido here? Fantastic. This is Right Food. Do you have anybody from Right Food? Okay. Beja Paint. Do you have anybody from Beja Paint here? Okay. Home and You Furniture Ikorodu. Anyone from Home and You? We have plenty of ambassadors. You know the Noxy Nigeria Limited. Do I have rep here? Fantastic. Avon Crown Cap. Fantastic. Thank you. Meso Nigeria PLC. Do I have you here? Okay. Fantastic. Okay. So we also have this session again in Omecha, intermediate technical training session. The cleaner production mission 2, that was carried out in Anambra State. I'm spending time here because it's more like an update of what we have done. And in line with the position of the project document, we have to do this at the stakeholders forum. This is Kutis. I believe Kutis is online. Atman Edidium is online. This is Ciflora Industries Limited. This is Geolis Cables Limited. This is Kate's Associated Limited. Amos Best Industries. Tommy Noodles. Transtel Ventures. Zek Industries Limited. Ikeja Foods Limited. Finance and investment trading phase 3 was also conducted as a way of just helping us. If you've been paying attention, we started with phase 1, both for technical training or finance training. Phase 1 is more like the basics. Then we went further, we took phase 2, which is more like the intermediate. Then we now took phase 3, which is more like the advanced. However, some few persons have also been selected based on their performance and commitment to also participate in another higher level advanced course. That will be online because it's going to be facilitated by international experts. Of course, we'll definitely inform you, write you officially, and also provide whatever support we can provide so that you can, because that particular one will come with a certification also, just like those that we are currently training as auditors and lead auditors for ISO 40,001 and 50,001. By the way, some of the participants during our introduction and sharing of expectation expressed the wish to become an environmental expert. Do you remember the person? So after this session, he wants to become an environmental expert. The person was more like Professor. So we are hoping that ultimately, those that will be selected, that will be part of that training, will end up also being certified. But please, once you receive your certification, remember that you're in the UNIDO Jeff pool, and you can be called at any time to play a role, either within West Africa, another country, or within Nigeria. So get familiar with all those your presentation, all those methodologies and method, and shared method in the case of IE and all of that. Be familiar with them because you can be called upon at any time. This is intermediate technical session held in Kano. The Cleaner Production Mission 3 was held also in Kano. This is Dala Foods Limited. By the way, two companies have also won, I call it a special prize, of being ISO certified. Remember, the one I talked about earlier is for individuals. So two companies will also be certified. One in ISO 14001 and another in ISO 50001. For the big boys in the house, you don't need it because you have 14,001 already. Some even have 50,001. But we also like to record, as part of the icing on the cake, 2 will be certified free of charge. And for those of us that are familiar with that certification, you know that there's no how you won't spend at least between 15 or 20 million to make that happen. But free of charge from UNIDO, yeah, those two companies will be certified. This is JK Carpets in Kano. This is Haiko Kano. This is Turari Hausawa in Kano. This is Bright Star in Kano. Sofa Textile in Kano. Unique Leather Finishing in Kano. Rumbu Industry in Kano. Gongoni Company Limited in Kano. And Alwabil Rice Mill Limited in Kano. Then the fourth mission, cleaner production, was carried out in 6 companies in Abuja, Abuja FCT, PPA, because you have turned Abuja to a state. So you have GU Beko, I believe they should be online. We have HSM International Limited. We also have Abumets, we have DLK Clothing, we have Tawada Limited, and we have Interior Woodworks Limited. Also, we have to conduct IE analysis methodology training for media. You know, I've mentioned that in passing. This for Kano. Then we also had a presentation on implementation status. What is the implementation status of the project at a public policy dialogue session in Kano, just this January, because we're expected to do this when we meet. In conclusion, the principal aim of the project is to support industries to align operation with the IE and RECP methodologies. Undoubtedly, this will facilitate efficient use of energy and resources and help to minimize environmental impact, energy consumption, and production costs while maximizing profitability. Over 1,300 individuals participated in a series of training and workshops conducted by implementing partners. 122 manufacturing firms, 35 government ministries, departments, and agencies, 10 professional associations and institutes, 47 news/media organizations, and 9 financial institutions were effectively engaged and have their capacity improved and enhanced. In addition, cleaner production assessment was conducted in 42 selected companies. All of the above represents significant strides towards sustainable industrial practices in Nigeria. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening. I think in the course of my presentation, I have a renowned industrialist that we are privileged to have in our midst this morning, and I'll be feeling in my duty if I don't give honor to whom honor is due. He's a trailblazer, and if we have opportunity of having such person in the national stakeholder forum like this, I think it's a privilege, and I think it's proper that I introduce him. He is the chairman, managing director, and CEO of Spectra Industry Limited. Baba Duro Kuteni. Thank you, sir. That's very kind to be with us, sir. We appreciate it. I don't know if you have any questions or comments. If we don't, I will say we should go for our tea break. You remember I dropped the tea break so that I won't have cause to come back here. Do you have comments Obafemi, I need mic, please. Okay, the mic is here. Please, let's give it. If it's not working, use mic, please. Okay, sir, thank you. Yes. Sorry, just the name, your company, because it's being recorded. I'm on Sunday, NCL OB. Okay. I work for Techno Oil Limited. Techno Oil, yes. I think we were at Techno Oil too. Yes. Okay. So just a feeling anyway. Okay, feeling. Please go ahead. Feel free. I'm thinking that considering the drive for energy management and cleaner production, that the number that have taken the training so far, 1,300, I'm feeling that it's just too small, considering the number of companies you have just within Lagos and Ogun alone. Okay. I understand that. But I have the answer, straight answer to it. In the course of, you are done, sir. Okay, in the course of my presentation, you recall that we had a restriction. Who can remember the restriction? You can help me with the restriction to show that you are following my presentation. Fund, not fund. We had a restriction. Who wants to help me? Not you, Engineer Lawal, because I can see you here. What's it, Yari, my brother? Logistics? No. So it means you are not listening to this presentation. And some of us, we have received this presentation more than 4 times. Yes, ma'am. No. When I deform my hand, when I Lagos they lead out of all the zones. Okay, to save time, the restriction we had has to do with the sector and location. It's a pilot. We are trusting that another project will come that will bring about expansion. For example, by the standard industrial technical system for classifying industries, in Nigeria, for example, following that standard, we have 10 industrial sectoral groups, and we have 76 subsectors. Do you understand? So that covers all the large number that you know. But the project said, no, for this pilot, just concentrate on 5 sectors. You remember, petrochemical, textile, and all of that. So meaning for you to even be able to benefit either your staff or your factory, you must fall under within. So that was a major restriction. And if you look at the second level restriction, it has to do with the zones. It's not covering the whole country. I also expressed the challenge we had. You could see the number of states under each zone, but we had a challenge. So we now have to re-strategize to look at where we have concentration of industry and where we can choose as a central location for people to come. Do you know why some people caught the vision and they were sponsoring their staff to travel as far as from Oka to Ikeja? Some were not willing to spend the time. So that may have been responsible for the number. But you recall I was trying to beat our chest on behalf of the team by saying they say we should do 70 industries. We have done 122 industries. For us, that's the best we could within those constraints. Any other comment? I believe I've been able to. Fantastic. Any other comment? Over to you, sir. There's no comment that is wrong. There's no question that is wrong. Because this is a national stakeholders forum. You can use my. If that one, okay.
Good morning. My name is Ikeja, Nigerian Foundries Limited. So my question goes to you on the basis, you said that there are selected sectors to which the UNIDO said the focus should be on. Could it be that they see those sectors as where there are more energy consumption and sectors that are prone to more environmental impact? I'm just asking for clarity's sake.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Flesh and blood did not reveal this to you. It's the spirit that revealed it. You are correct, very correct. Because if you are trying to deploy methodology on IE and RECP, and you don't want to cover the whole sector, do you understand what I'm saying? 10 sectors and 76 subsectors. Oh, for clarity, when we say 76 subsectors, if I pick one of the 10, food, beverage, and tobacco, Under food, beverage, and tobacco alone, we have 17 subsectors. There are people that are into confectionaries. That's a subsector. There are people that are into carbonated drinks. That's a subsector. There are people that are into tea. That's a subsector. There are people that are into dairy. That's a subsector. Still under that one sector. So back straight to that, you got it right. So they now have to look at the intensity. You know, industries, the intensity with which they use energy differs. For example, for those in basic metal, iron and steel foundries, the kind of energy you draw, you can't compare it to food and beverage. Do you understand? But however, the reason why food and beverage and tobacco have to be there is simply because it's strategic. Also, you can't say you are doing anything in manufacturing without paying attention to food and beverage, particularly when we are talking about RECP. And that's why most food and beverage companies that works well, let me not say that, most food and beverage companies have ISO 14001. Most. Do you know why? Because it's a condition. Because you must operate under that environment. It's part of the boxes you must tick to ensure that you're operating in line with. Any other comment or question? My brother, I have granted your prophecy already. Oh, you'll be brief, thank you.
I want to go from next week.
Okay.
Okay, just to, on your numbers, on the achievement and the summary, it's quite impressive. So I just wanted to add more ideas that you can consider. I expected to see what is your financial disbursement, because thank you to this exercise, you have been able to facilitate a lot of disbursements to some organizations. It can also reflect in the summary, so that also it will be a significant. So, and then wherever, you train a lot of organizations, thank you too for my organization. Wherever you have contribution to these organizations in terms of their operations. Take for example, an organization before this exercise may have been emitting a certain amount of greenhouse energy. Now, after this exercise, after you've facilitated financially, after you've guided them on the process, now after the exercise, maybe their greenhouse gases have dropped from this value to this value. If you can also capture those values for the various organizations, also include it as part of your concluding section, it will also reflect as part of the benefit of the exercise. Thank you.
Okay, I would like to first of all thank you specially for those two issues that you raised. But I would like to also say that we have them, but we can't include them at this stage. For the one that has to do with companies that collected funds, they know themselves. You know, when you have to do with loans or taking the money from development financial institution or even commercial bank, to a large extent, it's confidential. Largely confidential. But in our final report, when we are closing this project in Abuja, I know some of you will be privileged to be there. You will hear that. And in the compendium for the project, it will be there. Of course, there's a form we normally sign, even before we do CPA, including your factory. The reason for that is to guard against issues, proprietary issues, and to assure you that whatever you have shared with us is same with us. It won't be used. So at that point in time, the non-disclosure agreement is what I was referring to. Before it's published also, we'll write those companies. Then so the second one that has to do with, at the beginning, you are emitting this, now you are no longer emitting this, or at the beginning you are spending so much on energy, but having deployed the methodology, you are now making savings. We have them also, but we need to still keep them confidential at this stage. Do you know why? A competition is coming, and companies have been written. I don't want to disclose names. And out of all the companies written that are qualified, I know the number that have been able to respond. Even though the number is below what we expect, or we were expecting. But I wonder why they couldn't respond. Maybe because of the condition. because you need to do some technical work. You need to prepare 15, at least, PowerPoint, a minimum of 15 slides to show us what has happened in your factory, what you have done. So maybe they don't want to do the work now, it's just dodge it. We even extended the deadline to ensure that we don't leave people out of it. So it is after the competition. For those that have been rating, you can bear me witness. The guideline given to you speaks volume about those things you talk about. So it's after the competition that we are obliged to showcase such, both to Jeff and UNIDO. But thank you so much. We are not losing sight of it. We have them. But for those two constraints, that's why we are managing it until we get approval. You recall that some even say you can't snap during CPA. You can't do this. So we have to abide. Then when we need anything, we'll tell them they go and snap and send to us themselves and all of that. So we are managing that effectively, but it will be included in the final report. Any other comments? Question? If we don't have, I want to thank you once again for your time and for your rapt attention, and also for those wonderful comments and contributions received. So it's time for us to go for a tea break. MPC, how many minutes do we have for tea break? Are they ready? Clara, they are ready. Can we do 15? Or is it too small? 20? Okay, so if there's, I think we can take our turn to go to the tea table. And also, like I always advise, let's network again. When you come for a workshop, it's not just to level. So on that note, I would like to invite those that are outside to please come in. And those still hanging around the table, please, let's come back to our seats because we are about to move into the technical session. At this point, I would like to invite Engineer Obafemi Adejimo to make his presentation on the results of CPA from the point of view of industrial energy efficiency national expert perspective. I think he deserves a round of applause and to stand so that I can encourage you. You know him very well already.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. I'm honored to be brought up to this table to talk to us. I want to once again thank every one of us for being here. As usual, we always have a kind of dialogue in this kind of conversation because the intention of this gathering today is to share some of the things that we found. And because we have this, thank you very much. Because of the non-disclosure agreement, we may not be so specific about which company, and so that it will not be like maybe we are painting any company back. Because the goal of what we want to do here is to see how we can all learn together. And I believe that will be achieved today, if only we put our minds together and we'll make this a success. So once again, I want to welcome you to this session. So what we're looking at today, we have just 3 objectives that we want to consider here. We want to see our CPA result, we want to, like I said earlier, and then we want to sensitize us again about ISO 50001 framework, and then we will discuss the policy and financial mechanism needed to scale up the energy management system. Because of course we know that anything that you want to do or anything you want to do that will be successful will require input. And most of the input that we have is not what we can individually put in. So you have to pay those inputs to come in. So those inputs as idea will demand financial stuff. So globally we can say that 30% of the emission that we can have from the CO2, of the CO2 emission that we have. Whenever I mean CO2 now, I mean CO2 equivalents that we may have from the industries. And that explains why this project focuses on the industry, like big industries now. Yes, of course, some small and medium industries also were considered, but the goal is to try to reduce the CO2 consumption, emission. Thank you, because I think it has been proven that CO2 can be in the atmosphere for about 200 years. How many of us know that? So just imagine you have CO2 as like a blanket on Earth for more than 200 years. What you emit yesterday is still there. You still emit another one today for years. So what do we expect? We're expecting this thick cloud, right? That would usually have to wait till another 200 years before the one we emitted 200 years ago can go. So it will be a very big challenge to the world. And that's why basically it's in the context of industrial projects. So on national scale, we have a lot of industries. We have a lot of, when we were specifically in a region, okay, let me be specific now, Kano precisely, most of the complaints they are talking about is energy costs is too high. You tell them, this is very expensive. Grid is very expensive. So the question is, how do we mitigate all this, the effect of all this spike that we have in energy costs? So that's why it relates. So then for business, we have, and then what is UNIDO's approach to it? So the CPA, we are defining CPA as, excuse me, since I'm the one that came from UK this morning, the heat here is stopping. Let me say yes. No. All right. So a preventive integrated environment. One thing about when we talk about CPA, the goal of it is to reduce the amount of downtime you can have, to reduce inefficiencies in your facility. Oh, thank you very much. Okay. The goal of the CPA is to reduce the downtime, like to make you more efficient. For example, we've been to factories before. When we check the load profile, the energy load profile, we notice that, those that they are actively producing during the day, they have like the load profile, their base load without the production is usually even as high as about 40 or 50% of what they will consume when they have the full load. So just imagine if they are not still being efficient with that. It means they have to overspend a lot not producing, which will definitely speak to them on that. So it's a kind of preventive process that we use. So then we talk about the transfer of environmentally sound technology and methodology to your facility. Well, we've been at your facilities, and then we notice that some, for example, may be using fluorescent tube, and basically, the steps of conducting energy audits, besides collecting data, one of the most crucial things that you must not leave out is identifying what we call significant energy uses. What do I call it? Now, do you believe with me that significant energy usage is not the same thing as energy usage? Do we know that? So, energy usage is the quantity of energy that you have used. Right? When you say energy uses, they are equipment that consume those energy. For example, the compressor, the boiler, the electric motors. Those are energy uses. Now, before you can now talk about significant energy uses, you must have considered them based on their energy consumption. Usually when we come to facilities, we always mention things like we want to get equipment that consumes 80% of your consumption, right? And when you are done with that, we believe that if you reduce energy consumption on those that are 80% of your consumption, it will be massive compared to paying attention to all those lighter ones. What I mean is, in some facility scenario, lightings are significant energy users, not users. So now, when we get there, and then we identify the process, we want to know how, because you see, one of the things, your goal of knowing significant energy usage, your goal of knowing the process is to spot inefficiencies. What do I mean? Some situation may demand, okay, for example, let's say we all know that incandescent bulbs are not energy efficient, right? In a context. In what context? When you are looking at it solely from illumination. But there are some agricultural processes, being chickens, you have chickens, right? And you use those incandescent bulbs to heat them up. You cannot get there and say, I want to use incandescent bulb, they change it to LED. You kill all the chickens, right? So the first thing is you want to understand why the significant energy users. Why are they using it? What is the goal? Before you can even start thinking about recommendation, before thinking of, understand the process, understand the needs, and understand what is expected to be delivered. The next thing is how can I deliver this efficiently? So, so some of the processes that we some of the key contents, like what I'm saying now, is number one, when we go to facilities, we'll consider data collection. Sometimes we go to meter readings. In some cases, there might be need for meter accuracy, like comparing if your meter makes sense. We've had a lot of instances where the meters are reading unnecessarily too high. But you cannot just look at it and say, why is my meter reading so? I was talking to someone that is complaining from his facility, and I was like, before that what they used to consume, that before somebody brought in another meter in this economy, and it's in Band-Aid. And he's saying that he has a very big building, of course, but before he started paying about 40-something, 50-something thousand, not relatively big, but somehow big. And suddenly now that they brought another meter and he's paying about 10,000, 5,000. You know, generally an average person will say, that meter that is reading 5,000 is better. Am I communicating? But in a real sense, it may be better for you depending on where you are standing. But when you are looking at it holistically, it is not better. Why? If you have, for example, you have ACs in your house, you have fridge, you have freezers, and you have bulbs, some chandelier that makes everything fine at home, it's not a crime, right? But you will pay for those consumptions normally. So if you now want to be paying what the consumption of ordinary bulbs will say, that's the inconsistency. Though in facilities, we don't come and really talk about all those ones, right? So when we come to your facilities, we look at the ones that are highly paid, right? Because we are on your side. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but in the real sense, sometimes we get to facilities where some guys are overpaying. And when we check the meters are not approved. Some meters are reading times 3 of what they should read normally. So what we do is we have our calibration meter, and then we try to measure what at a particular time, and then we compare the readings. Then we can take it up from there. And believe you me, with data and with resources, you can be compensated for all those things. At other times, some facilities might be just that, like for example, in scenarios, in bad hit scenarios, just like some people wrote against a cold disco operation. How many of us see that news? Like, we are in band A, but you place us on feeder of band B or band C or band D sometimes. Those things also happen. If as a manager, you get there, you are able to spot that, it could be a very big saving for the organization. All right, so then the next thing is you want to assess the flow, the energy flow, the material flow, like I said the other time. Then the next thing you want to talk about is opportunity identifications, like we have also said. Then we have tools. We have UNIDO ENMS tools, that's one of the tools. We have a lot of other softwares that you can use to estimate savings, that you can use that can help you when you are doing your energy audit. One of it, we have red screen for energy management, like energy audit. Those one can give you spot on. We have measure, a lot of them. You can just use it to do maybe state system assessment, your facility compressor assessment, and what have you. So those ones can give you a kind of guideline to what to check. Also when you want to conduct assessment. So the things include, of course, experts that you saw in your factory. But in case you don't see experts in your factory, see me here now. All right. Okay, so also like we want also to also note that the pilot industries, like when we say pilot, just like Dr. Shidipe and I said earlier, it is not like the end of the phase of energy management in Nigeria or energy audit in your facility. Hopefully, we are trusting God that other initiatives like this will still come up. And aside those initiatives, there are still some low-hanging fruits that you might have gotten from this training. So you can go to your facility and implement it. For example, one of the common issues that we found when we also went through the site, that some people don't even know it's very expensive. We go to facilities and you hear compressed air. Very good. I was like, just sitting like this. People were looking at me that, what am I trying to achieve? I made sure I identified the spot. Believe you me, those leaks that you are just seeing, if you quantify it, in all honesty, and I'm not trying to exaggerate, those compressed air, the worth of what is going out, if you sum it in a year, sometimes it goes to tens of millions. So how would you note that? When you have the you know the prayer, this is the problem. Let's say your system needs 5 bar, for example, and you have a lot of leaks. Leaks means that there are holes where your air compressed air that you have gathered, they are going out. So because of those leaks, the pressure that is going to the demand would reduce. So let's say you're supposed to, they need 5 bar, you're supposed to do something about 6 bar. Let's now say in a what scenario, let's say 6.5 bar, assuming. And then you now have to do 8 bar because you want to meet that need. You see, between that 8 to 6.5 bar, if you consider it and you consider the size, the diameter of the orifice of the leaks, and then you look at how many hours the compression is working, honestly, significantly, you'll be amazed on how much you are wasting. So some people in that facility also, you see them. What are they doing? They are cleaning their body, right? See, let me tell you, one of the things that are not forgivable in energy states is to use compressed air to clean your body. Somebody behind that compressor. Why? Because compressed air is very, very expensive. What that means is this. Even if you are using a 20 kilowatt compressed air compressor, and that is generating that air, the compressed air that you need. What it means is that about 10% of that 22 kilowatts is what your compression is giving to your facility. Your compression is taking 22 kilowatts and is giving you 10 kilowatts equivalent of usage in your facility. So now imagine. Meaning that, let's say for example, you use that for about, let's say 8 hours in a day. Somebody, let's talk, I just do that. Just simple mathematics. Simple mathematics. Who wants to volunteer? Somebody. Okay, please. Can I go ahead? So let's say we have a 22 kilowatt compressor. And about 80% of it is going out as heat to your environment. So that means you multiply that 22 by 80. That is 0.8. That, or 80 divided by 100. 70.6. It means for every 1 hour that you are using, you are wasting you need to actually use 17.6 extra kilowatt hour units. So if you say 17.6 multiplied by, let's say you are band A, multiply it by 220 or 221 plus VAT. So it means for 1 hour, you have a cost of 3,000 what? 889. You have 3,889 naira that you must waste before you can have that consumption, that usage. So it looks so small, 3,000 naira can buy somebody 3,000, right? So let's now do the analysis. Let's say you operate in a factory that maybe you work in 24 hours, shifts. So just say 24, multiply that one by 24. What do you have? So now multiply by that by, if you have 365 working days, what do you have? So 34 million is what you must burn out. This is must. We are not talking about efficiency yet. Just must on that compressor. So now imagine you have some leaks. And that leak is taking it to, instead of, is making it to work about 20% more than what it should do. Right? So what would that be? It means that you would have been, let's say, on a rough sketch, just on approximations. Let's say this thing would have operated, let's say, 80% of its power. Right? Are you following me? But because of the leaks that is trying to meet the leaks, it's just like it's like a foolish heart. I'm sorry to use the word foolish, in the sense that it's like you are in the ocean. You put your pump, the inlet pump, inside the ocean, and you're also pumping into the ocean. Do you get the scenario? Another scenario, like somebody that places AC outside of the whole open space. What do? You are taking heat from outside and you are still pumping heat outside. It is one of the most criminal offense that you can find in the system, the compressed air leakage. But it's very common. Some people will do, and then this one finish, the other one also talk. I think they are doing Olympic with it. You see, it's very, very expensive. So in our facilities, some of those inefficiencies, we must pay more attention to them. But look at some of the other ones that we consider, because we are not talking about compressed air, the thermal processes. We have different funny scenarios along this side. Somebody will have to heat up water, treat water. And when the water has been purified and has been turned to steam, and they use it for the steam process, they have condensate. Right? And all the condensate, I'm not saying some, all the condensate goes to the drain. Why? Now, this is not really, it's not to point accusing finger. You know, some of these things, honestly, if you know what implication it has on our business, sometimes would have saved that business from that. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Hello, am I communicating? We would have saved our business from dying. If, for example, out of the, how much do you calculate the other time? 34 million. If out of the 4 million. Assuming we can make savings about 4 million out of it, we need not to do something in our facility, even as small as 4 million is. So please, in our facility, it is essential that we understand that efficiency is what you cannot negotiate. You cannot negotiate it. See, if you say it's not my business, you will pay through it. It's a function of time. You see, one day, I think when we were at Kano, we were talking about efficiency. I think that strikes more from the RECP component. A man was seated. You know, many of them were seated as big men. They have never had diesel tank that is just leaking. Tum, 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 tum. And before they know it, because the family they went to pray before they came back, the fuel has finished. So, you know, they just feel like there is money, they invested again, they bought another tank. When we did assessment analysis of how much they have lost, you see, why we are inefficient? The only reason we have been inefficient is because we have not had assessment. We don't have results of what we see F9. Some people say, why give me F9? How many of us ever believe that story? I believe it. I believe because it happens to me. I check my result, I say F9. I said, this is not my result. I reject it. I cannot have F9. People that were teaching, they have B2, B3, how will I have F9? That's something I didn't get. The beginning of my own learning came when I accepted that result and I was willing to take positive change. I don't know if I'm communicating. And everybody must get to that stage in their life, or in their company, or their career, when they can have assessment, a true assessment of what they are doing, and then they will be able to make the positive change that is necessary, or else that company will not last. Am I communicating? Yeah, at this point, I want to say something. One of the biggest challenges we face, I'm still going there, but I just want to say it now so that I will not forget. One of the biggest challenges that we face when we were in site is that some guys, they want to present themselves in their best. You see, if you do that, this is where you are working, this is where you are hitting. It doesn't speak so well in the sense that you deceive people that have come to do assessments for you. They will tell you are doing well. But what is your joy if that company collapses tomorrow? What do you get? What do you stand to gain? But you may not know that the CEO or the MD is crying from his thoughts that how will I continue? So sometimes there should be a change of approach. Maybe this should go to the orgas. You see, some of our staffs may not be energy efficient conscious. They may not be trained. If I come to your facility now, you are working on boiler, for example. There are still some things about that boiler that I don't know. Sir, permit me to stay in your company for 5 days. There are still some things about your boiler, your compressed air that you not know. You will be the one to tell me. Maybe some cables, they are not doing well. Somewhere you tap it and say, if I tap it like this compressor will work better. I may not know that. But the goal is to have better results in your facility. Such that the day you leave that place, if somebody else is even coming in, they should feel what you have created, the space that you have created when you are living. It's what matters. So, as workers in factories, in industry, these are the things that we need to work on. But at the senior level too, I want to appeal to those of us that we might be in a position to speak to our boss or our managers or our top guys at this point, that when such is carried out, it is not a time to give a sack letter or to look at somebody that is not efficient. Even if it's called the energy manager in your facility and he has not yet gotten it, know that there is a knowledge gap that you need to upgrade. Because I see that as a major problem. We got to a facility, for example, they have chiller. They were complaining about the chiller. The chiller was not good. The chiller cannot work because the voltage is always so low. The voltage. I was like, are you sure? He said yes. The chiller is so sensitive. Okay, let's go there. So when we got today, I said, have you considered? Okay, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a general question. So, because I know that I'm talking to experts now. Not even before we came, I have so many experts here. So when we do the training, some experts are still here. Even now, we still have what? People are not answering me. We still have extra. So, in that kind of scenario, in a facility where they have chiller, and the complaint is that they are all having low voltage, what do you think should be the solution? Anybody who wants to try? Huh? A round of applause, please. A round of applause. A round of applause. Ah! Yeah! To stabilize. Sometimes they call it AVR, automatic voltage regulator. Settles that. But do you know what? When we are raising that, the man was like, no. The chiller has inbuilt regulator. I went back home, I started doing research. I searched everywhere. To have chillers by specification that has AVR, there is no chiller with AVR. Do you have anybody that has this one? I was like, so why? You don't have to be insecure about this. The thing is, we cannot do your job. We have not come to market. And even at the company where you are today, you may have yourself to get to another company to go and make this kind of presentation. But if they are trying to pretend to you as what they are not, will you be able to give a good advice? No. So it is not to fire anybody. We are in a company also in Onitsha, in Anambra. When we got there, we noticed that the CEO said he wanted to follow us. I was like, no. But the man insisted I wanted to follow us. Of course, we have no choice. Of course, as we are asking questions, the guy was just like this. And somehow, we don't want to make you feel bad. Understand that we are there to help the organization. Nothing more. I have the organization I work for. I don't want somebody to ask me for my work. Do I? No. So, why then should what is meant to bring good to the organization become what people are now? So please, to some of us that we are in the top management position to talk to our company, please let us discuss with them. And I believe that all these things will also help more. So then, motor system. Common things that we find in common motor system. Some are using old electric motors with star data configuration. Well, star data is better than direct online. But you could have gone a step further. Depending, if you have a full load, you can use soft starter. But if you know that you can have variable load in your facility, what can you do? You can use VSD. But if you are having full load always, don't use VSD. Do we get that? Okay? Let me quickly talk about the electrical demand system. A lot of people at the electrical demand system, the power factor is low. It's not my business. NEPA don't charge us for power factor in Nigeria. That's good. It is good enough to defend them, but it's not really good for your facility. Why? Anytime you want to use generator, we still demand that for power factor. So what happens? You burn more fuel. I don't know if I'm communicating. So power factor issue is easy, and the idea is to reduce the fuel you are burning. Because if the power factor is low, I think the facility, their consumption, their base load, like even the peak that they have, is about 200 kilowatts. Guess what? They have 1.5 kVA generator. Like nothing must happen to this. Of recent, in Abuja, I just did for a very big institution. They have 1,500 kVA. They have another 1,270 kVA, and they have another 1,000 kVA. Okay, one MVA or 1,000 kVA, right? So they have those things. So if you look at it together, what do we have? We have 2.5 plus 127 from about 3,000 plus. But guess what was the maximum load they ever achieved there? Just guess. No, some of them they did better than 500. But honestly, they are doing 1,200 as the maximum ever. So the question is, why? So they said, because this generator, when this generator is working, we don't want it to just die, right? So we start this and we start this at the same time. So what? Can somebody just give me an idea of what would have been done to solve that problem? Anybody? Oh, I know I have experts here. I said it. Synchronize. And let it come for the load. Why is for the generator? But why are you operating your generators in very low factor? Doesn't make any sense. So these are issues that we found. Another one is, now again on the compressor, I want to give us another scenario in the compressor. I've talked about this, I've talked about the lot of things. Some people they need heat. You can extract heat that is being produced, 80% of the heat that is getting out of your compressor, that heat part, that oil part that you have, you can extract that heat to want something that you need to be, you have to burn energy to get again. That's one of the ways of making it efficient. But in most cases, let me say, in almost all the sites that we have checked the compressed air system, they just allow the compressor to do solo. We call it freestyle. But in another situation, we found something very, 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 very strange. We found the compressor generating heat and chiller right beside the compressor. That's very bad. The compressor itself, it is its generator. Chiller needs cool air so that it can achieve the cooler process that you want. So just think of it. Chiller would have taken the ambient air, which is about 7 degrees or 30 degrees in some cases, to turn it to maybe 2 degrees that you are going to, or 0 degrees or 5 degrees that you are going to. But you have now heated up that heat and cooled down to that temperature. You are making your chiller to overwork. So what is the best idea? Can somebody help us? Separate them. This is a very good one. Just bring the chiller out or bring the compressor out, depending on the one that will be more financially more feasible, right? That's one. Number two, there is another thing you can do. You know, that part of the chiller hub that is bringing that heat up. What do? You can bring a kind of chimney there, or duct system. Just take it out. And extend the heat out. That could also be a solution. So we need to understand that you don't put two things, such as compressor, even for compressor itself, for that heat to be coming into the environment, into the room where you are using the compressor, and everything is not good for the compressor. Because the higher the temperature, the more difficult for the compressor to compress the air molecules. So you are making your compressor to overwork. And sometimes, even the 4 degrees difference that you can achieve in the compressor to bring it down will actually save 1 kilowatt hour extra from what you are doing. So sometimes you have to cool the inlet. Make sure that the temperature that is going to inlet is as low as possible. Are we getting something? Some people are not getting it. If you are not getting it, say hi. If you are getting it, say hi. Some people are not saying that. Some people are saying this. If you are not saying anything, say me. Some people will not like it. Some people will not, but I know. All right, let's go. Okay, so lighting. I want to also talk about lighting a little. So lighting, when you talk about lighting, so what are the things? Okay, let me quickly give us an assessment for lighting. I've heard some people just say, oh, they are using 18 watt bulb, have you? Change it to what? Change it to 12 watt bulb. Would that be an energy saving opportunity? It should. On what condition? We have resumed the consumption from 18 to, and that is justifiable, right? only on one condition. Eh? Thank you very much. Because the definition of energy efficiency is not just reducing the kilowatt hour or the kilowatt that is consumed. The definition of energy efficiency is you achieving the same results with lower energy input, or you achieve higher results with the same energy input. So if you have reduced your energy consumption to reduce, I've not done anything. Don't just make yourself more, you inconvenience yourself. Okay, for example, we want to be energy efficient. Let's switch off AC and do that energy efficient. No, it doesn't work that way. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So, how do you do that for lighting? In field assessment. You don't just go and just look at Bob and say, oh, Bob, this is what you do. We have lux meter. When you're taking your lux meter, let me ask you a question. If I take assuming I have a lux meter here, if I take the lux meter here, lux means you are taking the light quality of lumen, like how much of lumen per square area, square meter, or square feet. So assuming I put my lux meter here on this table, or I raise it up like this, will I have the same value if I do both? Which one will be more? Upper one. So it means sometimes some of the things you may need to do in your facility is just to lower your bulbs and you achieve more illumination. As simple as that. You don't need to buy so much, maybe cable and what in strings, and you have more illumination. Sometimes it may demand you to change the bulb to retrofit them. Some people thought every white bulb is energy. Is that it? To some extent, it is correct. So I know you want to be political now. When I say energy, that's you know that was not the truth. I will come to the other side. So I will bring you back to that side. It can be energy saving on some conditions. For example, if you are using a 200 or a 200 watt incandescent bulb, and you change that to a 20 watt fluorescent compact LED, there is energy saving because CFL bulb will give you illumination that is more than that of 200 watt bulb incandescent bulb. Am I communicating? And you can achieve something, even you can even some can give you higher illuminance. Right? So there could have been savings. But the one who could have said that you might not have optimized your savings. So when you are taking that, you have to check what is the lumen per watt, what is the loss that the bulb is giving. So if, for example, I just get somewhere and I say, oh, I want to check bulb. So do you have LED bulb? Said I have LED bulb. So just quick test. Check the lumen. If it doesn't have lumen, I will straight away. It's not. I'm very serious. If you are hiding your lumen and your watt, you are hiding something from me. Right? So if people see that if they don't put it there, you are not buying it. They will put it, they will first. Am I communicating? And by standard, your lumen per watt for even LEDs, we have LEDs that their lumen per watt is as 4 as 80. But even that one that is as 4 as 80 is even better than CFL bulbs. You know CFL bulbs, those ones that look like ring. Like body ring 2. They are CFL bulbs. They are also white bulbs, right? But they are different from these ones that we have here. Am I communicating? So those CFL, they are not giving out enough lumen per watt like LED will do. Am I communicating? So now at that point, what do? You want to get at what level? So when you get, there are so many other things that you put into consideration. For example, the lighting, the color of the wall, the color of the ceiling, the area of the room. But some of the very quick ones is when you check the lumen per watt, sometimes simple calculation that you may need to do. Let's say, for example, there is a 20 watt bulb. We'll do simple calculation. This is where I'm not. Oh, thank you. So,
I've been talking about something I call lumen per watt. So I want you to get it. So I'm not just talking theories. Now look at it. Let's say you have 80 lumen per watt. Are we together now? Are we together? And in my facility, I want them to upgrade this. This is how it works. So let's say this 80 lumen per watt is let's say we have 20 watts that is giving this. And I want to know what should be the wattage of the bulb if I'm scaling the lumen per watt up, right? But of course, you would have done your own analysis, your own assessment to check that outside there you can get that lumen per watt that you are talking about. Am I communicating? So you can now say, okay, let's say I have 120 lumen per watt outside. That's the best you can find, that thing. But in most cases, you can have, let's say, 110, you can have 115, some can be 100, and some can be 80. So let's say I have LED now. This LED. Are we together now? Are we together? So we now have another one, which is what? 120 lumen per watt. So the question will be, what lumen do I need in that facility? 80 by 20 watt. Assuming this bulb was meeting their need, right? That one will give me what? 120 lumen per watt multiplied by what? X. I want to know what lumen per watt I will need. Am I communicating? What watt I will need, rather. Am I communicating? So that will give me what? If you say 80 by 20 divided by 120 will give us X, right? So what will this be? Calculator. Yes. Okay, so there is a simple mathematics that we always explain. Ratio is still ratio. We are together, just different ways. So when you are multiplying, you are bringing that one to this other side. It changes to division. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? So like in this case now, this 120 times x is the same thing as x times 120. So when I bring this here, it becomes divided by 120. Am I communicating? Or you can say divide both sides by 120. Eh? Is that not the question you're asking? All right. So we have 40 divided by 10 by 3. So we have what? This 1, Abi. 13.333, let's say, watt. So if I have 12 watt bulb here, it will still do something close to this. Am I communicating? So another thing you may now want to check is, if I reduce the light a little bit downward again, you will achieve that lumen that you want on your table. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes. So there are some ways around it that we can use to estimate to actually assess our lighting. Have somebody learned something? Have somebody learned something? Yes. Somebody have not learned something. Only 2 people have learned. Oh my God. With all this stress. Have you learned something? Yes. I'm impressed. More impressed. Okay, let's go. So let's see. So we are the area of efficiency. We've talked a lot about this compressed air. That's a major problem. Some compressors just keep working to eternity, pumping to fill. And at some other instances, it's the engineering design that is having a problem. Piping. They just reduce the pipe unnecessarily to reduce the pressure. That is not good. Have the right system design. If you now want to reduce the compressor, the pressure, reduce it from the compressor. It will save you energy than using pipe to just reduce the pressure. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. So thermal losses, of course, but boilers not well insulated, like the flanges, the valves. There are jackets for valves. Some people don't even know that. But there are jackets that you can use for your valves that can help you reduce the heat loss by that. And then we can have auto system, spoken a lot about that too. Then process integration. Sometimes heat recovery process. As we have many facilities, even in this CPA, that will not recover heat from their boiler. You have to recover it. So then gas. Most facilities have problem with metering or submetering their facilities. What do you mean by submetering their facilities? Let's assume that these are facilities. This is my boiler, that's my compressor, that is my lighting. If you can separate them in your facilities, it will do a lot of good. So you can know how much energy goes to the compressor, how much energy goes to this, how much it will help you to like based on the inventory that you have. If your compressor is taking more, you can easily know that something is wrong somewhere. Yes. So the question you're asking is this. So 20 watts at 80 lumen per watt. 13.3 watts at 120 per watt will give you the same thing. Do you get what I'm saying? So instead of you now using 20 watts at lower 80 lumen per watt, why don't you buy 13 watts at what? Do you understand what I'm saying? So the difference between 20 and 30.3 will give you your savings. And just imagine you have about 100 bulbs. Or let's use the facility I was talking about, a very big facility. So assuming you have about 8,000 bulbs in your facility, assuming they are all the same, let's just assume. So all of them are 20 watts before, like this. And then you now change them to 13 watts or 12 watts bulb. Because you may not say 13.3. Let's say 12 watts, and we reduce the height in it. So for each bulb, we have what? 8 at least. So we have 8 watts. 8 watts is very small, right? Right? Multiply by 8,000. 64,000. Oh yeah, divide by 1,000 so that you not get this. 64, right? 64 kilowatts. Right? So let's say your facility, some bulbs are on throughout the day, some are not on because it's a 24-hour industry. So let's say some bulbs are on for 24 hours, some are not on for 24 hours. So let's divide that 64 into 2. 32, right? So 32 of it, multiply 32 of it by 12. What do you have? 384. That's what you consume in a day. So multiply that by 365. No break. So what do you have? 48. So let's say you are on band A. That's kilowatts. That's units. So multiply that by 220. What do you have? 10.5. 10.5 million, right? So it means just by changing those bulbs. And let me give you a tip. That facility spends about 100 million every month on NEPA. It's a very big facility, like I said. But they spend about 100 million every month. So let's say we remove that 10 million from it. At least you don't leave. You don't leave 100. You are going somewhere. It's not only lighting that they are doing this. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So it can be significant when you are dealing with lighting as significant energy uses. Do we understand? So now, most facilities, like I said, they don't know what this building is consuming. Sometimes in food industries, we have done energy audits for some food industries before, and we noticed that the energy that some of them used to produce, let's say fried rice, is not as much as what they used to produce jollof rice.
and they sell both of them at the same price, there is inefficiency somewhere. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it is good you are able to benchmark your products. But if you don't have the kilowatt hour consumed when you submit that of rice, I just use it as an example. How can you do it for rice? For example, if you are using electric stove, you know the hours of operation. If you like, or if you have meter to measure that, it is a very fast. But sometimes it's just those ammeter, small ammeter like this, that you just connect the cable to give you the voltage and the current at the instant. You can use that as an average, get the average of that, at least submeter some of your significant energy uses. So that you can know. Some of them don't have labels again, that you can know what is the kilowatt, what is the watt. But you need to be able to account for them. Some electric motors, they misbehave. So 200k kilowatt electric motor has been there since more than 20 years. And nobody is monitoring that. No substarter, no VFD. You expect that to misbehave. So you need to monitor. So when you now monitor and you now check new one, you can compare the two. If I even change this, will it make any difference? Because let me tell you something. Electric motor normally, if you buy electric motor and you connect it on direct online or on direct online, in 72 hours, it will consume the money that you use to buy it back. That's the electric motor for you. So instead of you wasting that money for 72 hours, thereabout, get something more efficient. Am I communicating? So depending on the hours of operation, you may need to go to higher efficient electric motors and all those things. But when you don't measure, how can you manage what you have not measured? Am I communicating? Yes. So key observations. Ikeja, maintenance lapses costing 10 to 15 just to be conservative on ID equipment in textile industry. You know? And zonal insights, and some states, we have grid unreliability issue. They're complaining that there's no NEPA, they have low voltage and all, whatever. And sectoral challenges, we have thermal loss in metal, in petrochemical, very big thermal loss. And you still need heat process somewhere. There should be a way to just, the heat that is going out. You see, one of the beauty of energy audits is when you identify waste that would have gone out anyway, anyhow, and you use it to. Okay, let me give you a very good example. There is a facility that we went to. They have what we call vapor absorption machine. Am I communicating? Are some people listening? I'm sleeping till yes. I'm not sleeping till yes. Some people are not. Some people are the only open eyes that sleeping. I will catch them. I want to catch them. I'm not sleeping till yes. I'm not sleeping till yes. I'm not sleeping till yes. Even some people that they are bad. You see, when we got there, we call something vapor absorption machine. Do you know what it does? What it does is that it looks for heat energy. Don't worry yourself about the mechanical principles. Just understand it like heat energy comes in its own way, do all those nonsense that it does, and brings cooling out. Do you understand? But it is not as efficient if you have to burn gas or diesel to achieve that. Am I communicating? Am I communicating? But in this particular facility that we are talking about, they have damper for the flue gas had issues, went up. And because of that, they have to be burning fuel to do the vapor absorption cooling. That's not efficient at all. Am I communicating? It's better you put ACs than that. So what you have just gotten for free, and guess what? That facility is using approximately about 300 liters. To do that per day. It's a very big, huge loss. So what would have been a very good maintenance is make sure that you are
you are monitoring your that damper time after time, doing servicing. All what it takes to do servicing may not be up to 2 million thereabout. But doing that, you will save yourself of go and be using 300 liters of fuel to produce that for a week or for a month. It's a big loss. Am I communicating? Am I communicating? Somebody has learned something. Somebody has not learned something. Somebody don't understand what I'm saying. Somebody understand what I'm saying. Who will understand? Let me see your hand up. We are not condemning anybody. The idea is that we can bring ourselves to efficiency level. Oh, my time is fast spent. Oh my God. Oh my God. So these are kind of the things that we also saw. Basic dominant inefficiency pattern. By industry, by sector. These are the things that come. Don't worry, you don't have to take picture. You have this slide to see. You see? And then you see compressed air, about 7 companies, industries, compressed air waste. About just in Lagos. That's just in Lagos. About 7, lack of data and submission. So lack of data and submission is a big problem. So it's a big problem. And we are going to solve it. You have to solve it. If you don't solve it, it will give you a problem. You will not even know if you are doing well. When you don't know the kilowatt you are getting before, you retrofit, and you don't have another information to tell you that you have reduced your kilowatt by this. He asked a question the other time. That how about you comparing what you are doing before to what you are not doing now because of the implementation of energy efficiency principles? It's a very, very good question, valid question. So in many cases, during energy audit, it is necessary for you to know what kilowatt hour. You can do that in your facility. Get what average kilowatt hour that you are consuming per year. You have all the data. When you get that, get your production. We call something energy use index. Are we together now? Use that to measure your kilowatt hour consumed over year by your production. We know that I use 10 kilowatt hour to produce 1 ton. But there is another problem. Sometimes when you have a production and then you have inefficiencies in your production and then you have some waste, you now return those waste again, part of it, and then you have to reuse it. You have to account for those wastes differently. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Don't just say, now it is this that we are producing. Not say, it's just this production. No. You've wasted energy for that waste. You must account that also. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So that's, oh God, my time is gone. So this is like a heat map for this. You can always have it when you have that. So these are the kind of major losses that we have, like this, and then we can have. So I have discussed some of these things. Lack of awareness is a problem. Energy is often seen as a fiscal rather than manageable variable. So energy is not a fiscal. You can. If you call it variable, you can do better with it. So silent data is not linked to product. Some of the site also a concern. How will somebody consume 200 kilowatt hours January to December? 200 kilowatt, 200 kilowatt, 200 kilowatt, 200 kilowatt. Even when we say we don't need that we don't need the same calories every day. There will be a time you don't on one fan. There will be a time you don't put on one light. There will be a time. So the kilowatt hours cannot be the same up to the month. Your production also cannot be the same, except there is high level of organization that you have to benchmark that this is what must be produced every month. And you don't go up and Google it. I don't understand yet. I'm not seeing any company do that. To say January you produce 10 to February 10 hour now. I don't know, am I communicating? Yes. So please, all those things, they are very important. You cannot deceive yourself. See, an adage, the person that will back you when you die. You don't hide body for am. If you hide body for am, then you like dey see your life. All this idea. Yeah? So you have to be then no clear accountability. Nobody is responsible for these things in some cases. No, there should be clear accountability to that. Then maintenance practice. Poor maintenance directly correlates with energy waste. Then you have conclusion. Technology alone is not enough. We need a system. And when we say we need a system, it means even when the person that is in charge of the energy audit leaves your facility, what should happen? It should continue. It's a system. And when we talk about energy management system, because if you implement it, somebody is responsible for something, somebody should be aware, somebody should be informed, and then if that maintains, if that continues, and it's in this person's KPI that you must be the one responsible for this, there will be no way you want to meet up with that target. But situations when you just give an information and it's hanging in the air, nothing works. We know we'll talk a little bit about all this. So just the framework for ISO 2001, they have to do check. So I know that my time is very fast spent, and we'll talk about some of these things: saving potential, sustainability, competitiveness. There is a company that they want to sell to other companies outside. When you talk about international sales, that's some product that will not sell to. Why? Because those ones that want to buy from you, they are concerned about your emission problem. If you are emitting more than what you want to buy, they want to buy from you, they look at you that if I buy from you, your carbon emission will rub off on me. They don't want to buy from you. So they look for somebody that is more efficient. Am I communicating? So it makes some products not to be able to compete with global standards. Energy security. When you alone consume all what everybody in the facility will produce, in Nigeria, we know how it is going now. We produce a lot, we transmit lesser than a lot. Am I communicating? Your facility has consumed significant part of it. What a whole town would have used because of inefficiency. It can be more efficient. So we talk about the that's just on the lighter note. So we talk about the mainstream efficiency also. Then the CPA, the detail, the opportunities and the awareness. These are the things and the structure that it should be. The awareness must be there. You cannot do anything in your facility except to. Okay, I know God will give us wisdom. Okay, let's go ahead. So, then policies, these are the national grid and the financial incentives. If those ones can work, and continuous training like this. It's something that we're also pleading to UNIDO and to man also that you don't like this kind of training? Maybe some people are tired of the training itself. So man, some people are tired though. Are they tired? Okay, so then benchmarking, you have to benchmark what you are doing to what industries all over the world are doing. So for companies with CPA, with computer CPA, what you can do to commit to ISO 2001 implementation. Then you can start when? Start when? Tomorrow? Now. Not even today, start now. So then train. People need to know. What they don't know, they will not do it. So organizations should be responsible for training their staffs more about these things. Then give them targets. Somebody should be able to monitor. Okay, they are producing compressed air here. They are using compressed air here. What demand do you have this month? Submit to me. What are you doing this month? Let me see. Somebody should be able to cross-check those figures. Then, for all industry, you have measurements. You cannot play with measurements. Measurement. A major problem is measurement. Then, maintain. Shift from reactive to preventive. Don't wait until when things collapse. Have a preventive measure that will make you go through. So, what it has shown us what to do. Isolation has given us how to do it continuously. The thing is, can we work together to achieve this? Good. The question is, should we treat energy efficiency as a one-off project or as a strategic pillar of our industrial future? So with this, you know that we have a lot. So look at some of the insights that we've implemented. And with this, you have come to the end of the presentation. But I want to know if somebody has one question or two before I leave. Or maybe we'll do that later. Oh, thank you very much. So thank you very much for your attention.
Were visited where the cleaner production assessment was conducted. The sectors already mentioned, so let's not dwell much on this. So now, cross-cutting findings. Find out that the challenges that were faced across the four zones, labeling and segregation, 90% had this issue. No labeling system. You walk into either the store or the factory, you find out that there is no proper labeling. Then, if you, for instance, you call another staff in a different department and ask, what is this? Then you hear But they assume everybody working at that particular space knows which chemical is what raw material is what. So that was a very big issue. Good housekeeping. You find out that they are carrying a bag of grains and there are some seeds on the floor. People just step on it like they already it's a waste. It's not a big deal. But by the time you calculate what was spilled, you see that the company is losing a lot. Then material loss is still part of housekeeping. Data collection. If you ask, okay, what's the volume of water being used? Because in Nigeria, we don't really pay for water because everybody just generates their own. Or let me not say nobody, very few keep records of the water they've used and all. Then PPE and safety. Oh, that's a big issue. We went to a factory, a furniture making factory, and then you can see nails on the floor, woods on the floor, and somebody is doing that without even a covered shoe. And they are saying, no, they know where to pass. This place will not follow here, will not match here. So that's part of the issue. Then this is just detailing on what I already explained. If you can't name it, you can't manage it. No standardized system, we know what it is, the mentality. Colored code labeling. Yeah, there's a factory also visited. You see they labeled, but they may say A, B, Q. So you have to really take your time to memorize. Instead of just writing A, why not just say this is rice, or this is beans, or this is this particular raw material instead of the whole codings and all. The okay, this. I already spoke about it. Okay, yeah, these are some picture evidence, like what I earlier mentioned. These are the raw materials on the floor. Same thing is happening here. See, the bags are leaking and people just step on it. Okay, so using this based on the policy, we can't mention the names of the companies. So this is a northern maize milling company. So you see a whole maize damaged bag, 2 bags, daily loss. But when calculated an estimate of it annually,
they'll be losing 25 million. And it's what they just do. They've been doing over the years. And then brown floor sweeping, one bag. By the time you calculate it, maize dust blowers. So for this particular company, the estimated loss is 33,720,000 naira per year. So this is another case study. For policy sake, you see what's happening at the down part there. So PPHP pallet village, 3 bags, 25 kg, annual value 7,200,000. Same thing, see the whole disposal thing going on here. It's another company. You see that the loss stream, water tank leakage, monthly loss 432,000 liters, annual value 1,700,000. So, detailed findings, data collection gap. Okay, what's not measured? Water consumption, as earlier said. 80% of the family DLB facilities didn't have the water, the data for the water consumption. Then waste generation, production scrap rate 90%, energy per unit product 95%. So couldn't identify leaks, no baseline. They didn't have record for most of these things as at the time we visited the facility. So okay, let's risks. No workers wearing PPE in calcium carbonate section, critical. So it can also lead to chronic lung disease. I don't know, talking about this, there's a facility that a nursing mother with a baby was in the sorting area. And I don't think child welfare violation and all that. So, yes. So let it not be a very bad news. There were companies that had good exceptions, like Tawada had natural lighting, neat arrangement. They had a very good example of. Then Abumet Limited had water meters already in place, PPE compliance, like everybody there was well treated. They had chemical storage. So let's not dwell, okay? Nestle is here. So Nestle, very good housekeeping. Very, very good housekeeping standards. Then Velocity, there was Dori incorporation in process recycling. Then, if your company is not mentioned here, doesn't mean you didn't do so well. They just have to cite some examples. Yeah. So quantified economic opportunities. So for pallet collection trees, 50,000 to 100,000. So annual savings supposed to be 7,200,000. That's if those things are addressed. This is what the company could actually save. Same thing with bag sealers, water leaks, supply damages, and all. Then, okay, I think I can skip this. So, call to action. Your journey starts when? Okay, so we don't have to wait for tomorrow or next year. It has to start now. So discuss the workshop with your management, because your management buy-in is very important. On your own, there are some companies you visit, they'll say, yes, we want to do this, but the management will say, because we don't have time for this, we don't have time for that. We have to really make your management have the buy-in. Then start. Don't wait for perfect condition. Begin with one machine, one product line, one store. So, measure. You could get things like water meter, energy meter, things that you can easily use to measure those things that can help you know where you are wasting resources.
create a single folder, physical or digital, for your environmental records, gap analysis, compare your current system to the ISO 14001. The representative from SON will explain more on 50,001 and 40,001 requirements. Then have a certification plan for you to, so it's more like you want to adopt RECP methodology, you're already a step going towards the certification for 14,001. Then engage contact certification bodies for quotes and timelines. Closing thoughts. The opportunity before us, the challenge. Nigerian industries face intense competition, high cost, and increasing environmental expectations. The reality, the assessment revealed 49 million plus in losses from only 6 companies that the entirely can be preventable. And the opportunity is ISO 14001 is not a burden, it's a management system that helps you identify and control environmental risks, reduce costs through efficiency, demonstrate responsibility to customers and communities and regulators, build a culture of continuous improvement. So here are some pictures of the places that were visited. Okay. Okay, thank you. I think this is I'm already at the end of the slide, so thank you very much for listening.
Another round of applause for me.
And let me start by asking, how many companies here are ISO certified? If your company is ISO certified, please raise up your hand. So which of the ISO standards? 9001? What of 14,001? Okay, good. Any energy? No, we have done that. 50% discount to all SMEs. It's not. We have tried. 50% is not a child's play. For somebody to give it 50%, at least some has tried. And so we partner with SMEs and we have given them that privilege. For all our ISO certification, under SME, you have 50% discounts. And so we have 2 standards here, the energy ISO 50001 and the other ISO 14,001, which is the environmental certificate management system. So the importance of these 2, they are interwoven. There is no how you talk about energy, you have to talk about the environment, the waste, the carbon emission, and the rest. So that is why these 2 standards are very, very unique, and it will be very important that you imbibe these 2 standards in your organization. Very, how do I put it, apologetic in the sense that in Nigeria, these standards are not mandatory. So to say, however, if you look at the values, the importance of these standards, you realize that it will be good for you to get your company certified to these 2 standards, in the sense that from the first lecture and the second lecture, you realize the volume, the wastages, and the value of millions of naira that are wasting. So even though it is not mandatory, because it's only product standards that are mandatory.
like the bottled water in front of you. If you are manufacturing any product, the standards to all these places are mandatory. You must get our MANCAP certificate. The product must be, the quality must be okay, it must meet the requirement of the standard, otherwise we close down your company. However, the system standards, we have system standards under which ISO 50001, ISO 9001, ISO 14,000, ISO 22,000 for food management system, ISO 27,000 for the ICT, cyber security. So, and the rest, they are all voluntary in the whole world. It's not only Nigeria. So Nigeria is not an exception. It's not as if you may want to ask the question, why voluntary? It's worldwide. ISO standards are voluntary. However, when you look at the value, you realize that it is better for you to make it mandatory for your company if you really want to sustain. Otherwise, in the nearest future, you realize that you will just be phased out of business if you are not ISO certified. So on the energy, of course, we don't have to come and begin to define energy. All of us, we all know what is energy, and we use energy on a daily basis with various sorts of energy, electrical, mechanical, chemical. In our companies, we use various, all these energies, and magnetic, nuclear, and the rest. So these are the various sources of energy, the solar, which is even in vogue now, renewable energy, all these hydro, and the rest. So we are familiar with all these sources of energy. Because of time, I have to run fast. Nuclear power, however, this is not too, Nigeria is not too safe because of our safety problem. So we can't go nuclear. If anything happens to this nuclear plant, we may not be able to control it. And so we now talk about energy efficiency. 60% of the country's population has no access to grid. This is a fact. Even within the city, those of us who have access to the grid within the city will still experience epileptic power supply, not regular. And that's why you'll be shocked whether you are band A, B, C, and the rest. Well, I don't want to go too deep into that. And so most times we resort to load shedding in discos, we resort to load shedding and ration the electricity supply in the day, in the night, and so on and so forth. So this is what we experience in Nigeria. And so for that reason, you can see that energy is very expensive, and so we need to manage the small energy we are able to generate. And so government has come up with different policies. We have the Nigeria Vision 3030 for electricity mix, whereby we have there's a target set by 2030. In Nigeria, we want to have 30% of electricity generation from renewable energy. We don't want it to be only thermal or hydro. We want to ensure between now, by 2030 target, at least 30% of our energy generation should come from renewable energy. And so that is these are the policies of the federal government, and they are working towards that. So let's not dwell too much on this. Of course, we know the economic consequences when we don't manage our energy, when we don't use our energy very well. We end up, losing a lot of money, and it will, of course, our economy from one company to the other, gradually everything pulled together. We can imagine the losses at the end of the day. And so the health implications too, when you don't manage your the efficiency of your energy production and the carbon emission. Many of us don't even do all this calculation. Under normal circumstances, if you are ISO certified to these companies, energy, ISO 50001, ISO 14,000, the environmental, you will really appreciate what we are talking about, and you see the losses ordinarily that you are just wasting money that you ought to have saved to expand your company, your businesses, employ more graduates on daily basis, and make a very good environment for all of us to live. But unfortunately today we realize that many of us, as much as we are setting up industries, we are not conversant with environmental impact, we are not aware of the energy wastages, and at the end of the day, all of us begin to suffer one illness or the other. You see somebody working with a battery manufacturing, for instance, lithium and the lead. They don't even use PPE. These things will not happen immediately. It will not happen. It takes a long time. You just realize that the amount of lead that you have consumed within your system, and this thing has mixed with your blood. The short while before you know it, begin to have one problem or the other, one illness or almost, they start transferring you from one hospital to the other until you get to at least the last bus stop is teaching hospital. And you know what it means. So we need to be very, very serious. These are not jokes at all. They are serious matters. When you go to the hospital, you see the statistics of what we are talking about. So the cost of energy, as much as we all know, is very expensive, and the environmental impact also is equally disastrous. So for us to be able to protect the environment and at the same time manage the small energy that we're able to generate, it means we have to go for these two standards. You may look at it as being, is it too expensive? On the average, when you now look at the long-term benefit, you realize that it is better you just spend that small money, come to SON, let's certify your system, let it become a system. Many of what has been explained today probably is just, it has to do with our operations. But what about the entire system? When you're able to get your company certified, it will go a long way to help you more, and it gives you global recognition. At the international level, or under the oil and gas industries, it is very, very rare for you to get any contract if you are not certified to either EMS and even in front energy, at least 9001 and environmental standard, that is the ISO 14001. It is mandatory. It's not, like I said, it's voluntary, but in the industry, in that sector, for you to survive, you must have these two certifications. And so we have talked about the benefits. If we're able to imbibe these two standards, we'll be able to, energy security, we'll be able to manage our energy. There will be no wastages. We will save more money when you imbibe and you are certified to these two standards. You'll be able to save money, job creation. By the time you're able to save millions of naira, you expand your industries, you employ more people, so you'll be able to support the government in the area of unemployment. Emission reduction, you'll be able to manage the carbon emission. Many of us don't even treat our effluents, which is very dangerous. So many industries will just run it into the drainage system, and this thing goes straight into the river. It affects aquatic, it affects so many things. Even the air we breathe in, we realize that we are not safe. And at the end of the day, we suffer for this. So many people will suffer for the sin they have not committed. Even the children, our generation, many kids today, you begin to imagine the kind of illness that is at infant stage, that they are not supposed to suffer, that they have not committed any offense. But as a result of our own negligence, we have endangered the lives of our children. So the health implication is very, very colossal. Poverty and emission, of course, be able to save money, you expand, you keep more money in your pocket, and you enjoy your life. And of course, the air quality and resource efficiency. And so this is just a little calculation for us to appreciate that most times we waste more energy to losses, and the useful energy at the end of the day may just be 20 or 50% at nothing. Most times when you do the calculation, you realize that you are consuming, the useful energy is below average, below 50%. You waste so much energy to losses, to ignorance, for you not to have done the needful. If you engage an expert to do energy audit for you, you now begin to imagine, okay, let's for instance look at, let me see, from even in this very building, if you look at the lighting, anybody, I don't know if they have done, what is the lumen required, what is the illumination that is required within just this hall alone, the cooling system, what is the cooling efficiency, what is the cooling capacity, nobody cares. Even in our homes, many of us will have, within a small parlor, you have like 3 air conditions. And at the end of the day, you keep complaining that you are paying so much bill to NEPA. We have various ways for you with which we can reduce your energy consumption. Yes, yeah. You have various ways you can reduce that. SOM, we tried, I think some years back, we had to review standards for products. We did that of lighting some years back. We decided to phase out incandescents, the filament bulb. We phased them out gradually so that today nobody is using incandescent anymore. Later we entered the CFL, fluorescent and the rest. We later discovered the danger of mercury and other gases. We decided to phase out that one too gradually by virtue of reviewing the standard. Later we entered the LED, which we are now. And so we are trying to, that is our own method, ways by which we phase out all this energy, high energy consumption products. Presently, I think like 2 years back, we did that on air conditioners. Today we begin to see air conditioners with carbon, efficiency. We have the ones like inverter air conditioners. So we've reviewed the standard to accommodate not the old ones like this your window type. The moment you put it on, it will draw so much power. Even your generator cannot carry it. Anytime NEPA goes over and you want to start generator, you have to tell your children, go and off the freezer, go and off the air conditioner. So all these need to be taken care of. You need to observe what kind of air conditioner you are using in your home. Is it the one that is minimum energy performance standard compliance, or the carbon emissions compliance? But these are the things we need to take into cognizance, and you realize that even if you get the right air conditioner in your house, you realize that your small generator can carry it. Even some pumps, that likewise, though there are those that are minimum energy performance compliance, that you can use your generator to run your borehole, your pumping machine, and it will carry it conveniently. Not like in those days that you cannot use your generator to pump. You always wait for NEPA because they are not minimum energy standard compliance. So, record has shown that energy prices will always continue to improve. As in increase. It will not come down. Don't think the cost of energy will come down. It will never. So all you just need to do is manage your energy, do your effective calculation, and see how best you can save costs. So even the manufacturers lament most times diesel, the money they spend so much on diesel. Most industries, you realize that it is always a challenge, and many has even left Nigeria. I remember in the past, Dunlop left, Michelin also left. Which one again? Vitafoam. Am I correct? No. Vitafoam is still existing? Yeah? So, what about Calvary? Dunlop has left. What about Calvary? Are you sure? Are you sure? Calvary? This one is targeting me. Okay, so what is it now? They sold it out. Let me tell you, the real Calvary has left.
Calvary in India. Calvary in Ghana.
In Ghana, they moved to Ghana. Thank you, sir. Calvary left and moved to Ghana, sold that place. So it's no longer the Calvary you know. So there are a lot of issues when it comes, and it's because of this issue of energy problem, because the electricity in Nigeria is a problem, it's a challenge. They cannot cope, so they have to leave. So many of us, if you sit down and do this compliance to the ISO 50001 standard and the EMS ISO 14001, you realize that you will begin to see where so much money, you have wasted so much money, and so as a result of energy mismanagement and environmental ignorance. So these two standards, like I said, they are very, very important to industry survival. They are very important to industry survival. And in Nigeria, we have Standards Organization of Nigeria that is representing this country at the international level of ISO. We meet on a yearly basis. We discuss all these issues. How best can we manage energy? How best can we protect the environment? So these are the the standard structure. Most times it's always good you plan very well, understand the context of the organization. You need to sit down, get experts to plan for your company, establish an energy policy and energy management team within the company, consider actions to address risks and opportunity, conduct an energy review, that is the energy audit. If you have an expert in your company, fine. If you don't, you can engage a consultant to do that job for you. You can contact us too. Identify significant energy uses, establish energy performance indicators, energy baseline objectives, and energy target and action plans. So you do whatever you have planned, implement the action, operational and maintenance controls and communication, ensure competence, that is, keep training your personnel, consider energy performance in design and procurement, check, you monitor whatever you are doing. You must have a KPIs with which you monitor what is happening. You have already set the target, you have objective. Are you meeting up the target? Are you meeting up with the objective? It is by measurement, by monitoring with your KPIs, and at the end of the day, you do the audit and see if there is any gap. You take action to close out any non-conformities that might have arisen from your audits. Then adopting or implementing ISO standard, we have said it more, you'll be able to save costs, it will reduce energy wastage, minimize risk, increase production, increase revenue, create more jobs, economic improvement, protection of the environment, etc. And so we need to be very much, like we said initially, that we need to be very much, imbibe preventive measures. We stop doing a fire brigade approach. We stop doing a corrective action plan. It's not a good practice. Most times in Nigeria, we wait until when something bad happens before we need to take action. When somebody has died, as a result of one thing or the other, electricity has killed somebody or something has collapsed and they killed so many people, that is when we take action. So it's not the best. Don't wait until when there is a casualty. Make sure you do the needful. Preventive measures is very, very better. And so rather than make this standard, like we said, voluntary, it's voluntary, but it will be good for every MDS, that is government agencies, private sector, manufacturers, everybody to let the standard, be made compulsory. And before I'm ending this section, I still have like 5-10 minutes for the second slide on the environment. Let's just rush over it. Then we can now ask our questions for us to move forward. And so, like we are talking about coming to SON, it is very easy. We have our website, www.son.gov.ng. So when you enter it, you will see, just go to ISO certification, click on it, you will see the requirement for the certification. It's not something difficult. The most important thing is for you to be ready and prepare your company using either, if you have in-house experts or you use consultant to prepare. There are basic documents, mandatory documents for you to get ready, and all this energy audit and the environmental impact assessment that you need to do. Identify all your necessary KPIs for you to do your measurements. With that, when you are fully ready and you change your policies from the management down to the bottom, with that, after like 6 months thereabout, and you begin to practice this, say you see you are able to generate some data, some results, then you can contact SON, write an application to SON for SON to come and carry out assessment of your system before you can be certified to ISO 50001, which is the Energy Management System Certification Standard, and ISO 14001, the Environmental Management System Standard. For environments, let's just have a talk within 5 minutes or 10. The ISO standard, well, anyway, this is just history about how ISO started in 1947. After the destruction by Adolf Hitler. I'm sure you know the story. Adolf Hitler from Germany, who almost destroyed the entire world. So the world came together and said that we need to standardize a lot of things to make things better, to make the world a global village, for us to standardize all activities, all our operations. And so in 1947, February to be precise, they formed the ISO body. The headquarters is in Geneva, Switzerland, and every country is voluntary. You come, you join. Of course, you have no choice, because if you don't join, they will dictate to you. Whatever they do becomes binding on your country. And so Nigeria, we are a full member, not observer. We have some countries that are just observer. You just go there and sit down and listen and think. You cannot vote, you cannot comment. So we ensure we are full member. That is, Nigeria is a full member of ISO. We can vote, we can comment, we can, debate, we can, contest for anything, just like any other country. And so we are represented, as Nigeria is being represented by Standards Organization of Nigeria at ISO meetings. So standards are developed through technical experts, technical committees. I don't know whether is anybody here that's one of our experts working with us. Anybody? So that's one of our experts. Another person at the back. We wrote letters to MDAs and private sectors for everybody, because it's showing his job. We're only just coordinating the activities. It's not as if whether we're the one writing them in, developing the standards or writing the standards on our own. We need experts like you in different sectors, different fields. So we work together with, professionals. And so if you are yet to be, if you are not our expert, we have every opportunity to become one, because Nigeria needs to be represented at the global level. So we need more people on board for us to do this work together. So you can see me later if you are interested to be international expert under our ISO or IEC. We have the IEC for electrical electronics product. So, of course, what is the environment? We're not here. So, generally the environment, these are the things that make up for the integration, the environment. We have the human, the air, the water, the land, the natural resources, the fauna, the flora, that is human, animals, and plants. And of course, we have the industries. Many of us will generate one waste or the other, will pollute the environment, and we cause a lot of troubles to everybody. Directly or indirectly, you are already endangering the life of everybody, the entire nation. And so that is why government cannot just sit down, fold arms, and allow you to destroy the country for us. So government has set up MDAs, ministries, agencies, parastatals, to control your activities. And so that is why when you see government officials or regulators coming to you, we have our reasons for coming. We don't want you, we need to control what we are doing, otherwise we will destroy all of us one day by virtue of your manufacturing or activities in your industry. And so you can imagine this kind of problem. It's very common, is it not? We see this almost every day, especially during rainy season. And so if we don't control this kind of activities, one day we will end up and the environment will not be, habitable anymore for all of us. Right now, as you can see this, all the aquatic animals are in danger because of this problem. And most times it's caused by human beings. We are the one refuse. Instead of treating these things, we have the solid waste. There are ways you do all these things, and you can even turn them to fertilizer. We have the liquid waste, so you can even become money. These things are money, but we don't manage them effectively. The next thing is that we dispose them anyhow, and we cause trouble to everybody. Oil spillage, that one is even common in the south, and the problem I think some years back. Cancer what led to the death of Cancer and the 9 Ogoni. And even till today, they are still battling with that trouble. the environment is not habitable, their businesses have been affected one way or the other as a result of all these environmental hazards. And so even this, I'm sure Lagos State, if you pass through Ojota, you will understand what I'm talking about. Even when you drive, within that 1 minute, you need to close your nostrils. And these are things that we can just turn into money that we are wasting and causing trouble and making the, the environment unsafe. Sir? Well, let me give all of us hope. There is hope, we are safe. We can. Oh, sorry? The sound? No problem, there's no problem. There's no problem. And so, like we're talking about these, all these things we can, turn them to money from our various activities. And so, even this, the trouble that we experience, I think this one is peculiar to Lagos State. Almost every year we experience this in Lagos State. And I keep asking the question, why is this thing keep repeating itself almost every time? When it's rainy season, the people in VI will understand what I'm talking about. If you live in VI, it's just the Lekki Oasis. That is it. All right. So, why manage the environment? At times we need to wonder. There are certain things that we do ignorantly, and like this, for instance, the ultraviolet radiation, the rays from the sunlight, which we all know it causes that ray in particular causes cancer. And God, sorry, I would have noticed. So the ozone layer that is protecting the ultraviolet rays. By our activities in industrial operations, we release all these gases and it destroys the ozone layer. And that is the layer that protects all of us from the ultraviolet rays of the sunlight. And so today, we are suffering from one problem or the other as a result of our activities. And that is why we are saying that let it be mandatory, let it be compulsory that you must be certified to that standard ISO 14000 and that environment, and the one of energy ISO 50001. It shouldn't be voluntary. I hope we'll be able to take this bill to the National Assembly so that it becomes compulsory on all the industry. I hope you'll not crucify me. It's for the good of all of us, and for us to protect this country, we need this certification. You can imagine somebody just, for instance, you have 10 departments. You have, let's for instance, it's an engineering company. You have the engineering department. You have HSC. You have admin. You have finance and account. You may have logistics too, logistics department. So out of this, you have the ones that are actually the core. It's an engineering, that engineering department that is doing something that has to do with the real work of that company and has something to do with the environment. So target those ones first before you now begin to talk about account department, admin, and maybe logistics. So that the scope, you can limit your scope to HSC, the engineering department, maybe one other one, like 3 or 4, and the management. Put them first under the certification. The moment you are done with that, it's continuous. The second year you can extend, add one more logistics department. The next year you add account department. The next year you have admin. But if you have the money, you can do it once, holistic, at the same time. But most times we advise people, because of the financial implication, just take it step by step. Rome was not, it wasn't built in a day. So you start from somewhere gradually, one after the other, you get to the promised land. Sir, in the what?
Management commitment is essential.
That's what I'm saying.
But if you are not talking about not letting the accounting or other supporting parent to do, how will you manage the cost and the resources?
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's not as if whether the system, they are all working together and you have the accounting department will still be doing their work. But the only thing is that in your scope of activities of certification, when the assessor, like SON, will come and carry out audits, they will not go to the account department to audit. But it's not as if whether they're not doing their work. They will not go to their main and account department because it's not in the scope of the certification, maybe at the start. They will only go to the engineering, then the top management, the MD, maybe the HSC, the safety aspect, those critical, departments that are within the company. They won't go to admin and account for that first period. Then later on, you keep expanding your scope. Maybe after 2 or 3 years, you will now start going to account also to audit them. So in conclusion, using ISO 14000 can provide assurance to company management and employees, as well as external stakeholders that environmental impact is being measured and improved. Thank you very much.
Averagely, how much does it cost? Sir?
Assistance application.
Complete certification. You don't need to go.
I think Engineer Lawa deserves another round of applause. So, he has fired the first question. Hold on. Or you want to write them down and you respond to all of them. And you just, no, one by one we'll take our time. Then we'll take like 2, 3, then you respond. Yeah, asking you what the cost of certification, because it appears you lay more emphasis on that cost. That if you cannot carry the whole thing at the same time, it means it's something that a price to obtain that sun card where we are importing machinery. You gave some discount. Okay. Plus the discount, we need to pay more than 300,000 naira for it, for one invoice. Okay. Then we now discover the one for an equipment of about $300,000 and the one of $5,000 at the same rate. How do you want SME to survive?
How we are taking notes?
Then I learned from one of our MSMEs that Sun is asking them to put up laboratory, full laboratory for plantain chips. And then you are talking of energy, this energy, that. And we have not at any point seen your action or activities in promoting this type of standard you want Nigeria to use. You are talking of AC, you are talking of lighting, you are talking of, and still, we still see a lot of fake in the market, and it's you. Okay, you showed us in your cinema the waste generated here and there. You know, government did not do enough in terms of waste management, waste processing, and the rest. Because government should have come very early when they started doing pure water, before it became bottled water, to envisage where this thing will lead to, and start doing a pilot. To come and train our MSME on
art and craft. And then we work on water icing. And we are using it to do many things. But the government did not see anything good in it. And up till now, water icing is still disturbing on the lagoon. And it's a simple thing. And we hope maybe you can escalate it to the government, the right MBA that can take it up. I can still volunteer to train on how to use the water icing. Then tree felling, which all of you open your eyes. And you saw Chinese loading the log out of Nigeria. Sometimes ago, if you are going along Korodu, Itoekin, you will see trailers upon trailers carrying log and dumping the thing somewhere there, and they will now use containers to remove them. Where do you think these are coming from? The whites are now telling you that don't use firewood, don't use this, so that you don't destroy the ozone layer. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
You can now see, when I introduced him as the body, that we are blessed to have him here with us. Once again, thank you, sir, for those. This one is double whammy. Answer this one. All right.
Thank you very much, Papa. I'm glad we have elders in the house. First of all, on the cost of certification. For the SMEs, like I said at the beginning, we are giving 50% to all the SMEs. So for any SME, if you want to get your company certified to any of our little way to support the SMEs. Also, we provide
Francis, buddy? Now I'm coming to that. Let's not rush about it. The figure is not cast on stone, it's not fixed. It has to do with the volume, how big is your company. There are factors. We look at what is the complexity of what you are doing, how many processes, like I mentioned, the department, if you have 10 processes, some have 5, some have 3. So these are the factors we look at and say, okay, this is the cost for your certification. However, no matter the amount, you stand to gain discount of 50%. So that is that. Then 50%, not 15. 50, as much as 50. Half of the money will be off for you. Then some cap on equipment. First of all, some of these things are, let me use it this way. We give concession to those who are MAN members. If you're a member of Manufacturer Association of Nigeria, because some decided not to join, they believe it's an association and it's not mandatory that they must belong to MAN. But for us, as part of our collaboration and synergy, we use that to support them. Why don't you can be an island, you can't be working in isolation. You need to belong, work together, because government, we find it very easy to deal with, group of people than individuals. So when you come under one umbrella, we have different sectors, like they have identified, and so the oil and gas, the energy sector, the beverage, the food sector, and the rest. So under that, you'll be able to address your problem, your challenges together than than individual. And so, if you are a member of MAN, you stand something to benefit also with some when it comes to dealing with you. whether in terms of your certification or even of any of your product or even your importation. Because I'm using this to answer this import issue, import permit, the SONCA. So you stand some benefits which we have outlined, but you need to, be a member of MAN and also do some needful, get yourself registered with FIRS, CAC. There are conditions attached to it. So we want people to be more responsible, pay your tax, then you stand to benefit some things. Also, because we want the situation, many people just go into business. They are not manufacturers. The main reason why we are giving concession to MAN members, those who are truly industrialists. Some people are just going there you go there, you are not manufacturing anything, and you are going there to bring equipment, just a businessman, buying and selling. We don't want to encourage such. So, for those who are true manufacturers, that you are adding value to the economy, we give you concession. And that is why maybe you may come to say, this person is paying the same thing with me. There are certain things he's doing that you are not doing. So that is that. I don't want to go into the details. That's just a summary. Then laboratory for SME. It is not mandatory for SME to have complex, or how do I put it, a full laboratory. However, we encourage you. It is right that you are producing something. You should be able to have a way to check the quality of this thing before going out, no matter how small it is. Have a way, we call it QAQC, the quality control. You should set up a quality control in your industry, no matter how small. Set up a quality control. The holistic part of it is testing aspect. You can come to Sun, we'll test for you, or you have an external. We have external laboratories. We allow external laboratories. We have IPAN, the Institute of Public Analysis of Nigeria. We have external laboratories. You can go to them, test your product to be sure of the quality of what you are selling to Nigeria, so that you make sure that what you are selling is standard, is meeting the requirement of the standard. Standard for we have set standards for every product. We are talking about system. Any product you are manufacturing, you have a ready-made standard for that product. And for you to be sure that you are meeting the standard, you need to test. You need to confirm. So in your company, try and set up, we encourage you to have quality control units, no matter how small it is. While you use the external laboratory to complement. Then the issue of substandard products in the country. First of all, I want to say that we don't put everything on some, in the sense that all of us were all involved in one way or the other. Those of us here, 70-80% of us seated there are manufacturers. Why will you in the first place go and manufacture substandard products? Don't you have conscience? Be your brother's keeper. Now, putting the blame on your son, are we the one manufacturing the product? We are doing our job to checkmate what you are doing. We've done the standard for you to comply with. We have put in place measures that, okay, for local manufacturer, there is markup certification for you. For the imported, follow SONCA for you to get it right. Then what else is our offense? So it is, I want to take it this way. Let me close it this way. Please, let us take this as we are all responsible. If you see something, please say something. Then on the waste management, we have several agencies of government. We have NESWEA, we have the Ministry of Environment. Even at every state, we have LASEPA in Lagos doing at the state level, complementing the work of the federal. And so let it be a business of all. Let's not, government has put in place necessary NDAs, necessary support for us to get it right. All we just need to do, key into it, follow what government is telling you to do. The standard is there, follow the standard. Many people just go abroad there, they don't even care. Even standard of what you are going there to do. You just think you want to make money overnight and become rich. You go out there, you're not even coming to SOM first. Come to some first, get the standard of what you are going there to buy. Don't let the Chinese people just sustain you, give you some standard product. Until when you now come into the country and now say government is arresting you, seizing your container, closing your companies down because you are failed to comply. Before you leave to China to go and bring that substandard, come to some first. Let us guide you, free of charge. We'll guide you appropriately. Without free consultancy service, you are not paying for it. For you to get it, don't go and waste this money. Come to SOM before you go out there and end up bringing substandard products. And sir, the SONCAP we are being put in place, we do it in such a way that it is pre-shipment inspection. We'll monitor it for you before the product leaves China or wherever it is coming from. That is when we'll ensure everything is properly done. Not when you get to Nigeria after you are shipping the substandard product. No, we don't do that. We make sure we monitor everything from the company on your behalf, and everything will be properly done. They give you this correct, quality specification, the correct stand, the correct product, put in the container, and then you ship it to Nigeria with your SONCAP certificate issued. Right at the point of entry at the port, then custom will ask you where the SON SONCAP certificate, you show it, they verify. There's a way we validate the contractor, we do the validation and ensure that it is genuine, not fake. Because we have some people still doing faking. So that is how we are doing to make sure that we checkmate everything. All that is required of you is please just comply. Thank you very much.
Engineer Lawal, thank you very much for that response. But I want to plead with you to cut the responses as short as possible so that we'll be able to take more participants or feedback from. Before then, also, I would like to correct some impression. I believe you misunderstood one of the questions asked by Baba, particularly on fake and counterfeit product or counterfeit product. For us in industries, we are manufacturers, whether we are small scale or medium scale or large. We don't go to China to go and produce product and bring in fake product. I think it's coming from the angle of the fact that if the mandate of SOM is to regulate the industry in a manner that you allow only standardized products, particularly that have been produced in compliance with your set standards, that all those fake counterfeited products that we are seeing in the market, we won't see them. The second leg that I need you to catch is that Baba is not putting the blame on SOM, but he's saying if you have a mandate to regulate something, you should also, beyond just for paying for SONCAP, paying for MANCAP, you should have a task force in place. I'm the one adding that for Baba, because I understand where it's about. So, a task force in place that from time to time we raid the market. From experience, we have products, for example, dubious people involved in injurious trade practices. What they do is they look for successful brands in Nigeria and they take them to China, produce exactly. So imagine you open the container at Papa Tinker and the product that you are seeing, I don't want to mention any company's name, and it's a brand that you know, successful brand here, carrying the address of the factory here, you'll not be wondering, how is it coming in from China? So what Baba is saying is SOM need to do more in that area. And you can only successfully be able to do that if you do that in consultation and collaboration with local manufacturers. If we have cost to import anything, like SONCAP you mentioned, it should be either spares, raw materials, or packaging materials, especially those that are not available locally. So I just felt I should chip that in. Yeah. Let's give ourselves numbers so that it will help me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5. No one should raise hand again. No, 5. Over to you, sir. The mic is. Okay, sir. Let me start like this. Once again, I'm on Sunday itself. I work for Techno Oil. When the engineer took his section, he said that compressed air
is the most expensive air on earth, and that sometimes fuel leakage is wasted. I also want to add that aside looking at the leakage aspect of it, there's also the health, risk aspect of it. In my first year in school, under workshop technology and practice, we were taught that using compressed air to blow your fabrics can drive metal chips into your skin, and that could pose some health risk. Also, whether one is hairy or not, we all have hair pores on our bodies. It can also force air into your bloodstream. That is also another challenge. Yeah, so, coming to the questions, I want to ask if there is a way we can make electric motors that have high kilowatts rating very heavy, especially those that are mounted at a height, because that is where the equipment needs to operate with them. I have some like that in my factory, though I haven't had any issue with them, but sometimes I think, what if these things develop problems? How do I get them down, considering the weight? Because I don't think that if all of us gathered on this table, all of us cannot bring them down. So, is there any way of getting smaller motors with smaller wattage rating, to perform such tasks, so that when they have issues, you can easily bring them down? That is one. And secondly, talking about noise, talking about the environment, noise pollution, we all know the health hazard it constitutes in every manufacturing or production environment. That alone can make one very ill. So I want to ask, is it possible to get maybe a solar system or a system that can completely eliminate noise, that can generate possibly 350 kVA or 500 kVA constantly for like 9 hours? Affordable system, that investors can prefer over AGO or LNG or LPG. Now, finally, talking about environmental protection, I want to believe that the money the government spends, like you showed us some pictures here, where water flushed down vehicles. Some of those vehicles may have people and complete families in them, and they are washed away just like that, and some flooded streets you showed us here. Now, the money government spends, permit me to also say politicians siphon, in the course of combating those challenges. I want to believe that such money, are more than what they would have used to build a system that will completely eliminate such possibilities. How do I mean? For instance, in some countries, I cannot drink this and just throw it like you see in Lagos. Go from the car. Everyone, you see them everywhere. A little child in Japan knows that you cannot drop waste on the streets. Japan is that clean. Now, there are systems that you can drop this, and if you calculate how much it is, and just dispense it as cash, you take and put in your pocket. Can't SON advise government to push for such systems in Nigeria? That will make anybody not to waste this. That will make anybody not to waste even this, because you know that for you, it is money. Once you just drop it there, it will calculate and dispense, you put in your pocket and you go. Don't you think that can completely eliminate those possibilities we are seeing? So hope SON can push for that, so I can have such systems in Nigeria and completely eliminate the menace caused by waste mismanagement. Thank you.
All right, I think he deserves a resounding applause. I was just looking at him. He's creative in his thinking. And abroad, this is the kind of thinking that brings about innovation and creativity. If you listen to him carefully, he's been pointing to things and he's putting them forward the question, how possible can we have that? And for those that have one or two things to do with innovation and creativity, you understand that the start point of innovation actually is the point of asking questions. Is this possible? Can we reduce this to this? So another round of applause for him. You've taken note. Your questions are majority of your intervention, if I quantify it, the bulk of it have to do with comments. The ones that are questions, some are directed to Engineer Dejumo, while the last one was directed to SOL, the son, I call them the son of man, the standard organization. Okay, let's take one more because of time. Let's number 3. No, let's allow them since we have 5. That's why we're taking number. Go ahead, please. If you have 7, give us. If you have 5, give us. If 4 of them are made for SOL, I can stay behind them so that I can receive some of the bullets. Go ahead, please.
My name is Ikeja from Wanda International Nigeria Limited. My question goes to Mr. Lawal. Now, still on the Engineer Lawal, sorry. Still on the substandard item. Now, before the importation of any item like machinery into the country, you have IAF, this is International Accredited Firm abroad, that you affiliate with, that does inspection on behalf of you. And they are working on your behalf, which based on the regulation or your rules I have given them, that is based on that they are acting. Now, those items that are coming from whichever part of the country into Nigeria, before it leaves that place to Nigeria, they must have done their inspection and they've certified it okay before entering Nigeria. Now, the stuff beat their gate, they didn't say anything, they allowed it in. It came to Nigerian border, they did inspection at the port. Now, your border control people also check those items, allow the thing into the warehouse. Now, it gets to the warehouse, your PR, which is processing team, goes to that facility to do their own usual inspection so that they can certify that particular product. A sample was released also to the PR, that is the processing team, for them to take, which they will take to their lab to certify that particular item. Now, they release a sample to them, which they're taking to the lab. Your lab certify those things okay. Then where is the substandard coming from? If your lab can certify those companies that this particular item, this particular A is bringing, is okay. So where is the substandard coming from? Thank you.
Okay, let's take the next one quickly. Engineer, I hope you have noted that.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jude Usipo, representing Mocha Limited. Thank you very much for your presentation, sir. My question is to Engineer Lawal. Away from the technicalities and process related, this is more on administration. So my company, we are actually IMS certified. So meaning we have an integration of the QMS, the EMS, and the HSMS. So my question now is, this ENMS, can it also be integrated if my company decides to get certified on it? It cuts off over processing. You can bring out on all the arms of the standard, you can actually infuse everything in just one. It's as if you are bringing 3 different systems in a single dashboard. So if, for instance, we want to take on an energy management system, can it be integrated into the IMS? Because the IMS already, one of the processes that is being audited for us that we declare is our engineering department and maintenance. So I believe bulk of the requirements of the standard must have been covered in a way. So now if we say we want to add the ISO 50001, can it just be integrated so it does not make it cumbersome?
Okay, the next one, number 4. Okay. Are you number 4 or 5? Okay, no problem. At least you'll be there.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nasir. My question goes to Engineer Lawal. So I want to just find out, talking about ISO certification. Now, SON has already made it mandatory for companies to get MANCAP and SONCAP. What really is the challenge with mandating all manufacturing industries to be ISO certified as appropriate? Now, because the idea there is
necessary for energy and resource efficiency. So try
and make use of this opportunity under that. So we appreciate you and thank you for coming. Thank you.
For the SMEs, like I said at the beginning, we have given 50% to all the SMEs. So for any SME, if you want to get your company certified to any of the ISO standard, you stand to benefit 50% discounts. So which we are taking as our own little way to support the SMEs. Also, we provide free consultancy. Funny? Now, coming to that, let's not talk about it. The figure is not cast of stone, it's not fixed. It has to do with the volume, how big is your company. There are factors. We look at what is the complexity of what you are doing, how many processes, like I mentioned, the department, we have 10 processes, some have 5, some have 3. So these are the factors we look at and say, okay, this is the cost for your certification. However, no matter the amount, we decided not to join. They believe it's an association and it's not mandatory that they must belong to MAN. But for us, as part of our collaboration and synergy, we use that to support them. Why don't you can't be an island, you can't be working in isolation. You need to belong, work together, because government, you find it very easy and also do some needful, get yourself registered with FRS, CAC. There are conditions attached to it. So we want people to be more responsible, pay your tax, then you will stand to benefit some things. Also, because we want a situation without many people just go into business. They are not manufacturers. The main reason why we are giving concession to MAN members, those who are truly
wanted to do, they actually initiated programs such that products that are locally made in Nigeria will be able to be, exported outside and be able to be meet international standards. But it seems that both these top-tier agencies, SOL and NAFDAC, have reneged on that promise of theirs to take that action further. So I just want to know, if you are mandating that we get MANCAP and SONCAP, why can't you, what is the challenge in mandating that ISO certification should be a must across board? Thank you.
Okay, the last one, Mother. She's there.
Good afternoon once again. My name is Esther Obike, representing PCML. So this question is for you. When you were answering that day, you said that regulators conduct inspections to ensure compliance. All right. So my question is, what is the checkmate to ensure that the inspectors actually do this compliance for effectiveness? That to prevent unchecked discretion. For example, they might say, when you see something, say something. You might come to an organization and they see something. Now, that organization does not want maybe what they saw to go out. They beg them, okay, please, we can give you this. So how do you guys checkmate these people? Okay, I have, for example, Loma, I have them not coming to my organization to evacuate waste. They will tell us that they're having issues with at the top side. Now, how does the government come in so that we will not be having these issues? Okay, we're talking about environmental sustainability, and we're having our waste normal not complying. How do you guys come in? Thank you.
Okay, I think thank you. A round of applause for all the people or participants that are able to raise. Please, if you don't clap, then we're not going to leave you out. You're not going to leave now. Out of all of us, only 5. Thank you so much. So I will start with Engineer Adejumo to respond to the ones, the last, I think the first question, yeah. Thank you very much.
First, I will also comment on your comment, your first comment. That's where I will start from. I really appreciate him bringing that up because it's something I also overlooked. In fact, besides the air entering your body, you can blow metals to your hands and dust it, which can also cause eye problems. So air to white sleep, it's a no-no. So thank you for bringing that up. I really appreciate that. So to your first question, can we use a smaller motor? Because of maintenance, the height, and concerns around that. Well, my question, I will start by asking a question, because if you want to change anything, you must know what is the demand. Now, some processes demand high torque. Some demand constant torque. Some demand high speed. Some demand constant speed at startup. So the question you want to ask is, what torque will be, when we say torque, to bring everybody on the same page, it's not talking, we are talking. Yes, it is the force that makes something keep rotating. You see those drilling, I don't know if you have witnessed the drilling machine when it's drilling borehole before. You see that thing just moving like this. But what will stop that thing from moving is almost impossible. Force that we talk about when we say torque. So now, electric motor will make something to rotate. So if you get an electric motor that has lower capacity but cannot produce that torque, it will not work. So what you want to do, in case you want to change the electric motor, you want to understand what are the demand requirements. Then you look for electric motor that may be smaller, but that can give you that demand requirement. Have I answered the question? Okay.
My concern is on the weight. It's on the weight because
you need the lift.
Okay, is a lift?
No. Give him microphone, please.
I mean, there are ways you can get there. But even when you get there, all of us gathered here cannot even cannot lift that motor. So I imagine if you should develop any course, losing it to bring it down, and using higher may not even be a best option.
Okay, I think what we'll do. Hello. Okay, and now back to I don't know.
When you are buying the machine, for whatever purpose you are buying it for, you need to check where you want to install it. You need to check the configuration of that machine. Then you need to look into the accessibility and maintenance performance on it. So there are some machines that before they design the machine, they look at what the machine is going to do. That's why they design it with whatever they design it with. So when you are installing, look at how am I going to maintain this thing. That's why some factory, before you install, before even you purchase machines, they look at the space requirement, the room edge room requirement, then what are the necessary things you need to put as auxiliary part of that machine that will help you to maintain it well.
Wait. In this case, we are going beyond this stage now. We're going beyond this stage now. Because the machine is already procured, installed, and it's running. So I'm only looking at how to solve these problems by putting some
Okay, we understand. Let's hear that first, then we'll call it a day. We'll go back to Engineer Lawal. I think, well, maybe I'm the one that is able to help people's heart. I think what is concerned about is the weight. And we just showing whether it's possible or not. And that's why I said that's how innovation and creativity starts. It's simply saying, for example, before now, have you seen a mainframe computer before? Very massive. But somebody started asking questions. Can't you reduce this thing?
In those days, in IIT, we travel as far as IIT Ibadan to see computer. What do they use? No disk, nothing, no floppy disk, will be na punch card. One card like this that you put. But somebody started asking questions. Is this not too big? Is it not too heavy? And today, including what you are carrying and calling phone, is here. So I think it's troubleshooting. Am I speaking your mind? It's just trying to troubleshoot to possibly see the possibility. You have experts in the room so that they can also share from us. Okay, over to you, sir.
Okay, so I just want to speak on what he said.
Yeah, thank you.
From an HSC perspective here.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think you're concerned about the risk involved in bringing that thing down. Now, most of the issues we have in industries is that we don't have a risk assessment before these things are done. Now, you find out that some things are already installed. There was no form of risk assessment, no job hazard analysis and all that. Now, for an HSC person, you make that thing there. What we'll be looking at is, after identifying that risk, you'll be looking at how to manage it. So you might be looking at, of course, you cannot carry that kind of motor, but you'll be looking at installing or making use of a hoist. Now, there is no electric motor that doesn't have a place where you can anchor to. What you'll be looking at now is how you mount that hoist and control the hoist, not using manual efforts. You can actually use the button-operated hoist and you bring it down gently. Even if you want to take it off, you discover that you have just one or two persons up there, and then you press it, it goes up. So these are some of the little aids that you have that you can incorporate in your business.
Okay, thank you. That is still in the now. I think it's also looking ahead to the future. Have a smaller in terms of weight. It don't do. Okay, please allow that. Because this is a knowledge sharing environment.
Thank you very much. So basically, what I'll advance to this is about if you made that machine there, you need to find out the OEM and the installer. So that machine was installed somehow. If you are going to dismount it, they can always advise you how to do it. And that's the best option. Get those who installed it. Get to the OEM. This is your challenge, and you get the solution.
Okay, we are still dancing around this. You wanted to say something? Okay, DJ, that will be the last one.
Okay, just to remind us of what we learned in this class, there are different efficiency classes for motors. EFF 1, 2, 3. And what are the characteristics of these motors? They become more efficient, and the key contributing criteria which we learned here in this version is their windings. Aluminum windings are far bigger and heavier than copper windings. So by the time you drill into all these details, you may find out that you may be using an efficiency class that makes it heavy. But by the time you drill down using your motor classification table, you will be able to see a better efficient with a more efficient winding motor to store that same solution.
It's also not as heavy as what you are using currently. Thank you. I like that application of knowledge. You know, wisdom is what? Correct application of knowledge. Okay, on that note, I call it the okay. No, you still have one more.
Solar system. Okay, substitute. So, based on this question, solar to generate 350 kVA demand. My honest approach to this, if I want to talk to anybody about this, is make sure how do you come about to the 350 kVA? Sometimes you might have oversized your system. A lot of people, when you get to their facility and you tell them that what they use, they said, I use 1 MVA. When you check their demand, it's usually 300 thereabout. So the first thing is you want to know what your demand is. Why do you need to know what your demand is? If you oversize your solar PV system, the cost, your starting cost will be very high, and your payback will be very high too. It will not make sense. It will be long. So that's number one. Number two is that you may not even have enough land mass or even rooftop for your solar PV when you oversize the panel. So it will look to you like you will not be able to meet up with the demand. So what do? Our advice that first thing is first have your load profile, know what your consumption, know your maximum demand, your maximum power, and know what is for your peak. That's the maximum you can ever get. That will inform how you get the KVA for what you want to do. Now, if that is now well said, so there could be solar around it, depending on your grid availability. The idea is not to push grid off, right? Am I correct? Yes. Or is it to go to that grid?
I think the point he's trying to make, he just decided to bring in solar into it. He's trying to talk about noise. Noise. He was talking about noise. So he only used solar as an example. He said, are there things that can be done that you can utilize that noise? That's why I said this guy is. You understand what I'm saying? You can utilize that noise and convert it to something.
I think aside the eliminating noise, you also eliminate the use of AGO.
Okay, diesel, fossil fuel. Okay. So yes, it is something you can look out for. And if you follow the process I've told you, number one, know your demand. Based on your demand, you now size the solar PV system. Based on that, to help you on the financial implications and to help you on being efficient in all this system. Because if you are generating energy that is more than what you need, you are not still being efficient.
Okay, I think I will allow the two of you can meet after this session to have a bilateral discussion. Hand over the mic to Engineer Lawal.
Thank you very much. Technical matters, you can't finish technical matters here. So you see one-on-one an expert, engage an expert, and let them sort out. That's for you. Then, okay, you made mention something concerning corruption and what have you, and I don't want to dabble into the issue of corruption, so I won't want to talk about that here. Yes. And so, waste management. Let's come to the topic, the waste management and the energy efficiency. We have MDAs, particularly Ministry of Environment. We also have NESRIA. So these are the people that the government regulatory agencies on environmental matters. And so they're the ones in charge of environment. What we do is to set the standard. In the implementation of standard, it is not all that we implement. We do is supporting or complementary role when it comes to the implementation. Like for instance, standard on the waste.
That is when you just see few clauses and pillars that are different from the other one. So if you now make it mandatory, have a full company, for example, you now say, as by matter of compulsion, I must have ISO 14001. And you now say, okay, in addition, because of XYZ, you must also have this ISO. In fact, because you are running a management structure where you have a management in place, so that we can see your process, how you should also have this. Do you know, you will be running into 50, 100 million. And where will SMI? So what I think you should take back, Engineer Lawal from us, is a no-no, number one. Number two, let SON see itself as a facilitator. An agency also supporting, not just revenue driven. I know what I'm saying. So you just take it back that what you do is you can come up with a kind of aggregation strategy, particularly for SMEs. You can say an aggregation thing. Within this cluster, do you have 10, 20 SMEs that we can support? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? That to a large extent can be. But if you go and make it compulsory, I think it's going to be a major issue. Over to you, sir. I'm sorry for keeping you waiting, sir.
Engineer, I salute you. Engineering is some. the question I asked, you didn't answer me. Because I told you that because we are members of MAN, you gave us a discount. That discount again needs to be graded. Importing machine of $5,000, paying the same amount with those who import machine of $155,000. The other one was $5,000. Why should I pay the same amount for this? So how do you want us to grow? Okay, now when you are now asking MAN to put all their members together and put them under you, you are not a good hand that we have to work. All you are looking for is the money.
Not at all.
That's what you are doing. What happened in Ghana? How did they do their own? They assisted their SME to get certification so that they could export. So it's near zero cost. And if you cannot do this for your own people, then I wonder which country you are assisting to build. Because when you look at this thing, you can always make case for it. Okay, you are looking for maybe 100 million. And by the time you think about 10 companies in demand, I mean the large ones, you will get your 10 million. Whereas if it's 1 million from the MSME, you will get more than 100 million at the rate of 1 million. Check it. Then what's the benefit? You have more people employed, you have more goods coming out of Nigeria, and you have more foreign exchange. But if you are just saying, that should be 10 million, how many people can afford 10 million? At the end of the day, you keep Nigeria down in the export market. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. On that note, I think we are all done well. What I want you to do, I don't need a response. There's nothing to say. No, there's nothing to say. See, hello. Are you a comrade? Please sit down. I'm still talking. That's against the rule of communication. And I know why I'm insisting. What you should do for us, and I know you're a professional, is to take this as feedback. He's not expecting you to respond to him. He's an elderly man. He's not expecting you to even join the issue. He's just saying, including that young man, talking about NAFDAC and SON, promise something to support SMEs for export. We are not saying it again. Just take them as feedback. But however, if you now have information for the two of them and say, we are doing it, this is the email address, this is the who to contact, this is the officer on the desk, I'll give you mic. You have people that because you did address that.
I did, no question. But you didn't even allow me to talk.
Okay, I'll give you 1 minute.
Simple and short. Thank you very much. So as much as possible, many of us are, more privileged or privileged to certain information. Like some of the things Papa said, we have measures in place. We categorize companies. We don't give everybody a flat rate because they are not the same. We have large, we have medium, we have the SMEs, and we have different amounts that you pay. If you are in the category, what we do is that we'll do the first assessment. We look at your capacity. You are not the one to tell us this is your capacity. We have indices. We have parameters with which we measure your size. So when we do that, we now know that, okay, you fall into medium, or you fall into large, or you fall into SMEs. And the prices are not equal. So we don't treat everybody flat rates. It's not done. So,
Engineer Lawal, this is the person wearing the shoe. It's the same person that imported the two items, and he's telling you, you are asking me to pay the same, and I'm paying the same, they're on their way. What I expect you to do, I repeat again, take it as feedback.
When we are having our lunch, because I have done the thing don't go, you just go to Baba and say, can you give me a photocopy or something with which I can show my team and say, even though we have this grading system in place, but this is not applied. That's what I expect you to do, sir. Now you go see Baba, Baba no go see you. You go and see Baba after this session. At this point in time, I really want to thank you for your work. And I must say this session has been very, very interactive. And at this point, I would like to invite the National Project Coordinator to say the vote of thanks, share a few information with us, and we'll go for our lunch. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think we are getting to the end of this session. By way of information, I want to share with us this information. We started the training with awareness training. Then we gradually moved to technical training on the methodologies. Then we have some training on the investment and finance. So we have from the standard. And now the project is gradually coming to an end. I want to ask those of us that participated in the CPA whether you have received your feedback report. If not received your feedback report, who again? You have not. Who again? Only two. Next thing, you have your report with you. Only two. Please make sure you see the project that I put down before you go. Then we still have one training left, and this is the advanced training, which is going to be online and is for very few people. Those people that have excelled in the formal training. Then we also have another training on ISO standards, the lead auditor and auditors and lead auditor. I think that of Lagos is coming up next week. Okay, first week in March. Also is second week. Okay, second week in March. Also is for very few people. So it's on this note that I have to thank every one of us that are here on behalf of JEP, UNIDO, MAN, and the project management unit. We thank you for coming, and we believe that what we discussed here today